see.
We're live.
All right.
Yeah, we're live. So, no one is here yet. Oh, we got some people here. We got a couple people here. For those of you who are just joining us, all 17 of you, it's gonna keep piling in.
Come on.
It'll keep piling in. For everyone here, just start hitting us with your questions. Super chats will get priority, naturally. But for the time being, there are no super chats. So for anyone who's got questions about Suicide Squad and our feelings about it, please hit us with it hard. And Syntell, I actually don't know your feelings about the movie very much. So
Yeah.
I'll give you a very, very short summary of mine.
Okay. Yeah, hit me with it.
I when the movie ended, yes, there'll be spoilers in this. It's called a spoiler talk. So, someone was like, "Is there spoilers in this?" If anyone's wondering about Syntell's light, it's because he's got sunlight. He's just using that natural sunlight to go up and down. So, all right. So when the movie ended, I had fear in my body. I had fear because I was like, "Oh God, this is going to be one of those moments where everybody loves this movie, and I'm the one asshole who's like, it's okay." That was my fear when the movie ended, and as I was walking out of the theater with Achara, because it was one of those bubble screenings with my brother, because he loved the movie. He loved it. His immediate posse loved it, and he looks at me. He's like, "What'd you think of it? What'd you think?" He's like, when you have a family member or a friend who's super excited, like, "What'd you think?"
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "It's all right." And he just laughed. He laughed. He's like, "Of course you would think it's all right." And so, I hate being that dude. And so,
Right.
but anyway, Achara was like, "It was cool." I was like, "Oh my God." Like, for once, Achara and I have, like, alignment in our opinions. Because I was fully expecting her to love it. And Courtney Wright asked me about it because she just watched it. And before she watched it, I'm like, "You're going to love the movie. You're going to enjoy the shit out of it." And she's like, "Why? Well, how come you didn't like it?" I'm like, "It's just not for me. The violence was a bit much for me." And so she hit me with the voicemail because we haven't had a chance to talk about it either. She said she liked it a lot. And for her, the violence was like anime.
Okay.
So, all right.
Yeah.
For you, this is my first time hearing your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was all right. It was all right. I mean, I did get a chance to like glance over some of the reviews, not really like reading them because I didn't want any spoilers or anything. Mostly like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. And everybody is like losing their mind over it. And I could understand why. I mean, it's Gunn. It's James Gunn. He's fast paced, funny characters. Quirky moments. It definitely has that. But I mean, I didn't think it was like a world beater. I didn't think it was the end all. It's definitely better than the first one.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Suicide Squad.
I agree with that 100%. Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, I may have enjoyed it more if it wasn't for the hype, because the hype was just crazy. So I went in there with this expectation of just having my brains just blown out with amazingness, and it was just a good movie. It was decent.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't stray too far from your comfort zone. The violence is violent. It is very violent, but I also thought it was going to be like breaking some new standard of violence, and it didn't really do that either. But it is violent.
Really? You didn't think it broke any new standard of violence at all? Like, what have you seen?
Nah. Well, here's the thing. Like Courtney hit something that's kind of right on the money, and that is if you watch like a lot of anime, or if you're an old school anime watcher and you grew up watching stuff like Ninja Scroll or Fist of the North Star and stuff like that. I mean, it's like right on par with that. And Fist of the North Star came out like in the late 80s, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're used to that, then it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of like right on the money. Yeah, but it is overly violent. It is that. I don't think it's any more gross than like Deadpool.
Really? That's so interesting, because when I watched Deadpool, I had way less qualms with the violence there. And maybe it's because of expectation, because when I went into Deadpool, I full well knew what I was getting because of like the comic or the animation or whatever. I'm saying that as if I read the comic. But I was familiar with the character and what his world is like, and I knew the level of violence going into it. But like, I think that this completely bests it in terms of the level of violence. Like, from start to finish, I'm like, God damn. Whereas Deadpool like definitely has gore, but not to this effect. You don't see innards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe not. You know what else might have desensitized me as well? Because a lot of the big time gore, it comes from King Shark. And I've kind of like been massaged into the world of King Shark. I don't know if you've seen the Harley Quinn series, the animated Harley Quinn series. It's must see. It's really, really, really good. And that King Shark in the series is just as violent. It's on the same scale, and he's funny with it. That King Shark is a lot funnier than the James Gunn one is. But it kind of like, when I saw King Shark on the screen, I'm like, oh, he's about to get down, and it's gonna be like some over the top. And it was like par for the course. It was just par.
Right. All right. Well, I haven't.
Why do you think people are so excited about it? Why do you think all the hype is coming from?
Part of it, I think, is also like, cause, the Rotten Tomatoes score was insanely high, and my thinking was, James Gunn got hit with the getting canceled over his tweets from years ago, right? And I think that a lot of people had his back. And SJW, like the people, they were mad that SJWs took him down, and so I think a lot of people were happy to have him back, like, and he basically got to just be him, do him at his maximum. Because if you watch what is it called, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, because I'm actually going through that movie right now, like as my toilet break. On my phone, I'm just going through the movie, and when I watched it, I'm like, oh, okay, so like Suicide Squad is essentially what he was trying to do with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. If you watch it, because like it's loaded with sex jokes and it's loaded with violence as much as he can do with PG-13. Like I think if it was up to him, he would have done a rated R Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I can see that.
So
let's backtrack a little bit for those who may not be as savvy with the social networking and the band culture. What exactly did Gunn say?
I'm not allowed to say exactly his tweets because that could probably get this demonetized. But basically, he was making jokes about statutory grape.
Okay.
Grape is my substitute word for the R word. I think that's what the jokes were about. I never actually saw the tweets. I just remember they were in poor taste, and Disney fired him off of Guardians of the Galaxy, and that pissed off Drax, the guy who plays Drax, a lot. Like he was way up in arms, and he was the only cast member who was like, "I'm not coming back if you don't bring back James Gunn." Like he was livid. And so,
hey, hold on, just for a quick moment before I forget this thought. So I want to give a quick shout out to Trevor Moore, one of the creators of The Whitest Kids. He just passed yesterday. And when you're talking about grapes, he did a skit called Grapes, like literally grapes, in reference to the horrible part of that. And he just passed yesterday. So before I forget that, I just want to say, that dude was really funny. The Whitest Kids, great content creator.
Yeah,
please finish.
Yeah, I almost did a video yesterday on a guy named Brad Allen, because he passed away yesterday as well, and he was part of Jackie Chan's stunt team. He's the first white guy to ever be introduced into Jackie Chan's stunt team.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
you know what? That's the dude I'm worried about. The white guy that has everybody else saying like, "No, you cool, you can hang." That means you had to do some really over the top stuff to prove yourself worthy of being around other folks, that don't look like you. That's the dude that's probably, amazing at what he does.
Yeah, rest in peace, Brad Allen. He's very, very, very well known in the stunt community. Like you and I did by the way, your camera's glitching sometimes. I don't know if that's like the internet thing, or I just want to let you know that that's happening.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for giving me that heads up. Okay.
Yeah. But last time we did an interview with my buddy Aaron Toney, and Brad Allen basically shepherded him to what he is now. He took him from just being this guy who's flipping at the gym to being this like, professional stunt guy. So.
Okay, I get it now.
And so, Brad Allen. If you want to see Brad Allen, his fight scene was in a movie called Gorgeous with Jackie Chan. He has 2 one-on-one fight scenes with Jackie Chan. He's in a bunch of like multi-people fight scenes with Jackie Chan. So anyway, back to this. What were we talking about? I completely forgot. Oh, so James, you were asking about James Gunn and what happened with James Gunn. Yeah. So he had those tweets from years ago, well before he made Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Disney canceled him as a response. And so Warner Brothers picked him up and said, "Hey, you can do this movie over here because we don't give a shit." And he got to do his, all the jokes he wanted to do with the movie, all the violence he wanted to do with the movie. And I think that a lot of critics were like, "Yeah, James Gunn's back." Because I wondered, walking out of that movie, I was like, If Michael Bay made the exact same movie, would it get this level of love?
Probably not. But that's two totally different styles.
No, but like, let's say he did the exact same style, exact same writing, exact same script, exact same movie, shot for shot. I think the movie
you just change the name.
Just change the name. I feel like it wouldn't get this much love, not even a little bit. That's
probably not. If you're going off just names, yeah, probably not. There's a real big disdain for for the other guy not named James Gunn. Yeah, I can see that.
That's all I'm saying. But overall, you thought it was cool, and you didn't think it was worth all the hype, but you thought you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, I was a fan. I think it's worth the money. You know, I didn't see it on the big screen. I did myself a disservice of that. I should have seen it on the big screen.
Oh, you watched it? You streamed it?
Yeah, well, I watched it on HBO.
Okay,
HBO
gotcha.
Yeah, because it was just too crowded. I was like, I'm not trying to be around that. Yeah. Not with what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
But here's I'll say this though about James Gunn's project as well. DC cinema has been taking some hits, and they're just now starting to claw their way back up to a normalcy of respectability regarding their content. And based on the Snyder cut, giving some more validity to their cinematic universe, this is kind of like pulling them out of the muck as well, because they've had some misses, and they've just been living in the shadow of Marvel. So this is another one of those really good efforts to kind of like pull them out into the light a little bit more. So it's a big plus for DC, regardless of how I feel about it.
Right.
It's going to give some more legitimacy.
Yeah.
Because like for all of you that have watched this, and I've said it a million times, like DC's animated universe, their animation sector is far superior to their cinematic sector by leaps and bounds. And if you like this, then you should really go check out the Harley. I keep pushing the Harley Quinn cartoon because it's just that good, and it's a series, and to me it's better. It's even better than what you're seeing right now.
A quick shout out to Soham for super chatting. He's trying to get me to look at his Insta for some odd reason, but thank you for super chatting. So let's see. Is James Gunn? This is from Amber Sorosi. Is James Gunn now top blockbuster director? Now the top blockbuster director. I don't know if I would say that. He's certainly
all that. What have you done for me now, right? Culture. What have you done for me lately, culture?
How do you mean?
What's the last thing you've done? I mean, who else would be number one?
I think that if Michael Bay wanted to do another Transformers, if he felt like it, he could get the budget, and it would make a lot of money. Although in this day and age, it's a little bit harder with COVID and all that stuff. But yeah, I think Paramount or whichever company it was would still give him money.
Well, he's just a money making machine. You know, he's a blank check, regardless if it's good or not. He just makes money.
James Gunn is certainly a household name. I think that, Zack Snyder and James Gunn. I'm trying to think who else is like a big name in this day and age that like is a blockbuster director. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. Let me see. Biggest action film directors right now. James, what's his name from? Who did Fast and Furious?
You talking about Jason Lee?
No, I think it's
Jason Lee. Is that his name?
Well, first off,
done like 5 of them.
The guy who directed Saw is also big still. Let me see, Fast and Furious director, Furious 7 director. Let me put that in.
Justin Lin, I think that's his name.
Yeah, Justin Lin. That's what I'm thinking of. Justin Lin. Yeah, Justin.
I don't think he did the very last one. Did he? He did 9. Justin Lin did 9.
I don't remember, but yeah. So anyway, I'm terrible at answering that question. God damn. but
I think he's the best out right now. Like I said, it's all our culture is based on what have you done for me lately.
Yeah, Ridley Scott is still pretty big, and he's got that Gucci movie coming out that I'm excited about. You didn't see the Gucci trailer?
Well, is that the one that's got Jared Leto in it? I'm not a super Jared Leto fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate him. I just don't get the hype regarding Jared Leto. I don't think he's that amazing of an actor to me.
Are you excited for Peacemaker show? Is there a Peacemaker show?
Yeah, so at the very end, this is a big, massive spoiler, just to give you a heads up. at the very end, we see Peacemaker in the hospital bed. He's not dead, and the reason why is that he has an 8-episode series coming out on Netflix. I think it's Netflix.
Okay.
And it's going to be just Peacemaker, but it's going to be directed and written by Gunn. So
why is it on Netflix instead of HBO Max?
I think.
No, it's gonna be HBO Max. It's HBO Max.
It is HBO Max.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know about that. I guess I'd be curious to see that. That'd be. Now that I know the tone of what to expect, like I think I'll be more prepared for something like that. It's just that going into Suicide Squad, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, because I'd seen the last one and it wasn't anywhere that violent. I wasn't expecting them to take it all the way up like that. Like, God.
So the violence really was like a big deciding factor regarding how much you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was just, it was
well, I
jarring
mean,
in a way.
the thing about it is Suicide Squad. Funny enough, like the reasons I wasn't a huge fan of Suicide Squad, James Gunn, is the same reason I wasn't a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It was just like the amount of violence in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I was just like kind of taken aback. I'm like, this is a kid's movie. Like, what are you doing? And so, and they're like the sex jokes and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, this is a kid's movie. What are you doing? And so I'm going back and watching it again to go, okay, maybe if I watch it a second time, I won't feel that way. I won't be as like hard on it. It's just like sometimes your first viewing is not great. Like, for instance, and I apologize to everybody in advance for what I'm about to say. When I first watched Winter Soldier, I didn't like it. I had to watch it again years later and realize how much I appreciated it. Right. And especially with the context of everything else, with the rest of the Marvel universe, the cinematic Marvel universe, I was like, oh, like I actually love this movie now. I enjoy it so much more than I did the first time around. I don't know what I was thinking the first time around, but like my feelings have completely changed. Did a 180. And so I'm going through Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I'm enjoying it more than I did the first time. I'm not as mad about things that I disliked the first time around. And so I might need to watch the Suicide Squad again, but just not right now.
I'm not sure I'll watch it again. I think there was a lot of stuff that's like that. It's very few. I'll just leave it at that. I don't think I'll watch it again. It was good for what it was. Yeah. And then we'll keep it moving.
Amal Augustine asks, do you guys think the first movie has better style? I don't think so. I think the first movie was trash. The first Suicide Squad was complete trash. There was nothing redeemable about that movie, even a little bit, for me.
Like the one character I did with the guy that can make the fire. I forgot his name in the original one. I thought he was kind of cool. But it wasn't really memorable. It just really wasn't memorable. And then it had like this weird hype surrounding it because the Joker was supposed to have like a really big part in it, and then that didn't really happen. And then there was the Batman scene that kind of fell on his face, and so it had all this hype, and then it just didn't deliver on top of it. And then Will Smith was Will Smith. So I mean, I love Will Smith, man, but he's always Will Smith.
That's what I argued with you about years ago, dude. I tried to tell you Will Smith is just like, he just plays himself, and your argument was, hey, nobody plays Will Smith better than Will Smith. No,
nobody plays Will Smith better than Will Smith. He has one note, but he does it really well. He's got a one-trick pony. Yeah, but it's a hell of a trick.
Yeah, no, I mean, Will Smith is he's just a personality that's amazing. I've seen him. I've seen him in person once, for the Gemini Man conference at YouTube Space LA, and man, I've never seen energy like that in my life. Yeah. For someone that old, I've never seen energy like that in my life. I'm like, this guy, when he says he will stay on that treadmill longer than you, he's not joking around. That's a reference to one of his interviews on a late night show. He's like, you might run faster than me. You might be better than me, but you won't get off that treadmill. I won't get off that treadmill before you. I'm going to be on that treadmill longer than you. I will outrun. I will, run this longer than you. He's got a very, very, very strong work ethic, and so, his personality is amazing. Like, he pissed off Clive Owen. It was awesome because he kept going, woo, like, at the loudest volume possible. And Clive Owen was like, fuck, man, because he did it right in his ear. So, I'm sure Clive Owen was glad to be done with that marketing as soon as possible. But yeah, I mean, I didn't hate Will Smith in the first film. I just didn't like the movie. Like, I just didn't think it was a movie. I was especially mad about the soundtrack. Like, the soundtrack here was cool. I like the music in the new Suicide Squad. If there's anything James Gunn knows is how to put together a good soundtrack.
Yeah, and blow a quarter of your budget on licensing.
It works. Like
But it works.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah,
it works.
That's something he's good at. Like, that's something everybody loved about the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm sure the second one as well. And so, you know what's funny? Here's a fun fact for y'all. I couldn't even finish, like, I couldn't listen at the end of the second Guardians of the Galaxy at all. I had to cover my ears because the song was triggering for me, because it reminded me too much of my dad. That's because it's about a father and son. That's what the song is. It's by Cat Stevens. I'm like, oh, dude, you can't use this fucking music. I'm just like sitting there watching the visuals. Like, it's just too much because it's about a send off for Yondu. And so I was like, yeah, it's too much. It's too emotional for me.
Well, music is a thematic cheat code for content creators. It's a cheat code because it does half of the heavy lifting.
Yes,
especially more so if it's a song that's already been established and is very familiar. If you're trying to set the tone, just have a song that's already well known and respected that already sets that tone, and then the rest is you're just holding somebody else's hand through whatever scene is set up that you have going. And James Gunn is really brilliant with that. He lets the song do the heavy lifting.
I think he's on par with Martin Scorsese in that regard, because Martin Scorsese knows how to use music very, very well. And so I think that in Suicide...
Tell Scorsese that.
What do you mean?
Because isn't Scorsese, he's like one of the old school heads that can't stand comic book movies.
Well, he's the one that started that conversation. He says that... Yeah. Well, he's specifically talking about Marvel, though. He was saying...
Just Marvel, or is it just all comic book?
No. I think he was specifically talking about Marvel. He's saying specifically Marvel films are theme parks. And, yeah, I mean, I get his point. But I also enjoy the theme park movies, so you know. He doesn't think that it conveys what do you call it, the human condition very well. And like I watched Endgame again. I had a huge bunch of laundry, and I watched Infinity War and Endgame back to back. So I had that much laundry. So,
that's a lot of laundry, my guy.
So,
it's a lot.
But in watching it, I got emotional again. I'm like, I get what you're saying, Scorsese, but like, if I'm able to get emotional from this, it's more than just theme park. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
he's a hater. That sound like hater talk to me. He's a hater because his time has come and passed, and he's not getting the same type of woo-ha that these younger creators are doing. And what you said is the key thing to everything. The whole reason why we go to a movie and the whole purpose of art in general is to evoke emotion. Period. That's why you listen to music, go see paintings, watch movies, is to evoke an emotion. And if it does that, then success. Not everything has to be some gangster story with somebody getting their head beat out with a baseball bat in order to convey an emotion. He's a hater. That's what that sounds like.
Well,
I
think
bitter old man, and he's a hater who makes amazing movies, by the way. No, I'm not disrespecting his craft. I'm just saying him as a person. He's an old man that's a hater,
right?
And brilliant artist.
Yeah, I mean, I get his frustration. I can understand his frustration. If you look at like the top grossing movies right now of all time, most of those are like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And so I get his frustration. Like, I understand where he's coming from because he's not trying to participate in that. It's not his game. They tried to offer him to participate in doing Joker, and he's like, I made that movie. It's called King of Comedy. I'm not doing that again. Or is it not King of Comedy? The Taxi Driver. One of them. Like, I forget which. I think it's those two films that inspired Joker. He's like, I'm not doing that again. I made those movies. Why am I going to go back there?
Yeah, and they're brilliant. Taxi Driver still holds up. Still, which is crazy to me. But sit your old ass on the side and let these young kids play in the sandbox, man. Let them have fun.
Lol K says, I love Syntell's thumbnail pick. Go girl power.
Oh, no, I gotta put it again.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I know you're probably an asshole. You probably got me as Wonder Woman again, don't you? Yes, you do, you mother sucker.
I got you as Wonder Woman. At least Wonder Woman's relevant. I got myself a Supergirl.
At least I got some amazing breastises, so I'll take that.
Yes, I just reused that from the Justice League. So Syntell beginning that D3. I don't know what that means. Is that the boob size? I guess that's the boob size. Is this going to be about part 2? I don't know what that means. Abhinav Singh. Oh yeah, part 2. Yeah, the new Suicide Squad. Yeah. It's just kind of weird, the titling. I wish they went with like a Zack Snyder kind of thing and called it like James Gunn's Suicide Squad or something like that. Because it's so hard because you say the Suicide Squad, they're like, wait, which one are you talking about? It's like, well, this one has the word the. Like, oh, it's just like annoying. What about Free Guy? Have you seen Free Guy? It's not out yet.
No,
right?
It's not out yet.
All right, dude. Part of
once again, it's running into the same thing. I keep hearing all the hype. I'm trying to measure my expectations.
Part of what
everybody's loving.
Part of what ruined my experience with Suicide Squad was the fact that I watched Free Guy right before it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you hadn't had a proper palate cleanse.
No. Yeah, and so Free Guy set the tone for my day, and it's like, imagine. I'm trying to think of like what I could even compare Free Guy to. Imagine going from watching something like Jumanji. This is a bad comparison, but imagine watching Jumanji and then immediately after watching Saw. Like, yeah, it's just weird. For that. Yeah, it's just weird, right? And so, yeah, I came out of Free Guy loving Free Guy, and then I'm watching Suicide Squad. I'm like, this is a totally different film, and it's not fun. Like, it's not the same kind of fun. It's like I wasn't ready for it, you know. Jaby, how girlfriends do you have? Helix21 is asking, how many girlfriends do I have? Maybe James Gunn can add your story in the next Suicide Squad. He can really make a great story from that many characters. Girlfriends. Dude, I could.
Yo.
What?
You finish your thought.
I could literally make a whole drama series about all the women I've dated, but that's LA. I think anyone who's dated around in LA can do that, you know. It'd
be a funny series. To piggyback off of whoever it was that just made that comment in the chat, I think that's the brilliance of James Gunn is that he's taking obscure characters in 3 separate times and made us love them. There was no big backstory like a Superman or a Batman or Flash or Wolverine or anything like that. He took the Guardians of the Galaxy, at the time one of the most obscure Marvel properties in the universe, super obscure, and made them arguably one of the top 5 MCU films, arguably. You know, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that takes talent, man. And then he did it again. He did it again with the Suicide Squad. Like, once again, like, who the hell is Polka Dot Man? You know, like King Shark has a little bit of relevance. Yeah. You know, those characters, with the exception of Harley Quinn, she's the only one that had like some decent backstory, and he made us love them. Like, one of them, like Polka Dot Man, to me was one of my favorite characters. You know, and I've never given 2 damns about Polka Dot Man, but I did it because James Gunn made me love him. So that is his brilliance.
Yeah, I enjoyed Polka Dot Man. I thought he was cool. Yeah, he had an interesting, I guess, story arc, you know, over the course of the film. I enjoyed him.
The club scene, man. Because I mean, him. In case spoiler, he sees his mom everywhere. Like, that's one of his curses.
That was so bizarre. That was,
and it's weird and it's uncomfortable, right? Especially when like they were in the little club and he was dancing and he was like all up on some lady, but from his perspective, he's like all up on his mama dancing. I was like, ugh, but I get it. It's just weird. It's awkward. It's like everywhere you look, you see the thing that you despise that happens to be your mother.
Do you know who Sean Gunn is?
His brother.
His brother, Sean Gunn. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And he also played the Weasel character.
He was the Weasel?
Yeah, he was the Weasel character.
CGI, obviously. I mean, they put a mocap suit on.
I don't know.
Now, I hear he makes like vague appearances everywhere, in a lot of his stuff.
He's a good character actor. I think that, you know, I just saw his scene with Nebula again in I keep wanting to say How to Train Your Dragon 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I just watched the scene with Nebula where it's this awkward scene of like, what are you going to do when you get all that money? And she's just like so serious and theatrical. And it's like, oh, I thought you were going to get like a boyfriend or something. Like, it's just this awkward dialogue and it was hilarious. And he did it. Yeah, I think Sean Gunn's a great addition. Wherever he shows up, he's cool. So I thought that Idris Elba did a fantastic job personally in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot. And there was one scene. This my favorite. What was your favorite scene? Let me start with that, and then I'll tell you my favorite scene. What was your favorite scene?
Oh, wow. Man, favorite scene. Shoot. Golly, man. Maybe off the top of my head, and it's probably because you've influenced his decision when he was having that conversation with his daughter, and they were both cussing at each other, and when he met her at prison, and their relationship, it just went so against the type of relationship that I was expecting. The stereotypical, I love you, but we have this small little beef. Like they were going at each other's throat, and I thought that was hilarious. It's one of the more memorable scenes. Kind of caught me off balance on that. That's the first thing that popped up. How about you?
Well, with regards to that relationship, I think part of my disappointment with the movie is that not more was done with that relationship. Instead, what James Gunn did was he realized that he's gonna have a hell of a time keeping that relevant in the movie. And so what he did was he created a substitute pseudo daughter with another one of the members of the Suicide Squad. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Like how? What? I didn't buy that. Personally, I was like, you remind me of my daughter. Why? Because she's a girl? Like, what characteristics does it? What characteristics does this woman possess that reminds you of your daughter? Like, I didn't really get that. I didn't buy it. Yeah. Other than like Idris Elba's acting. That's the only thing that sold me on it. But like, I didn't conceptually understand it even a little bit. I thought that the what's the character's name? The rat girl. The rat caller.
That was the Rat King or something like that.
Whatever the Rat Whisperer, whatever her name is. Rat Catcher 2. Sorry,
yeah.
Rat Catcher 2.
Rat Catcher 2.
Played by Daniela Melchior, or I'm saying her name wrong, I'm sure. I thought she did a really good job. I think the acting in the film was actually really decent. You know, all around the cast was very, very strong. Even John Cena. I thought everyone did a fantastic job here. But her relationship with her dad was very, very interesting to me, and it makes me think that James Gunn has had some kind of fucked up ass relationship with his dad, where it's like a love-hate relationship, because this is the second time he's done this. In Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he had the exact same thing with Ego and Yondu, and that whole thing. It's like it's this weird thing of trying to figure out who his dad is and like that relationship and whatnot. And here you got the same exact thing. It's a theme that keeps coming back. I'm like, okay, I wonder what has happened in James Gunn's life. There's this someone who said a long time ago, most people just tell the same story over and over again in their writing. They just change it up. If you look at the guy who did Whiplash, what's his name? Forgot his name. Damien Chazelle. When he went and did right after Whiplash, he did La La Land, and then after La La Land, he did the space movie with the same actor. I can't remember his name now. The guy who's always got the same face. It's just like he doesn't emote from Drive.
I can't give his name either. Yeah.
Why is his name not coming to my brain? But anyway, I know you hate Drive. I can't remember his name for the life of me. If Achara was here, she'd be able to say his name.
Yeah, because every woman knows his name. Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. Thank you. So in each of those films, you have the same themes popping up again. It's this thing it's about a guy who has such this hardcore dying passion for this thing, and it's going to cost him his relationship. It's the same exact theme, and on top of that, they love jazz. It's just like the same thing every time. But anyway, I thought that was really cool. The relationship with the story about her dad, Rat Catcher 2's dad. I thought like that whole thing was done really, really well. It made me emotional watching that, even though like I didn't give a shit about her dad. Like that like what it meant to her affected me.
I agree with you. It didn't really connect though, because the relationship that Bloodsport had with his daughter was not the same.
Exactly.
They're two totally different relationships. So how could he possibly be like, yeah, I see you as my daughter? You're right. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. There was.
But what you said also as well regarding the acting in general, I think that is amazing. Everybody showed up, especially Viola Davis. Viola Davis, I think. Yeah, that's her name.
She was fantastic. Oh my God.
She played Amanda Waller. Yeah.
She was
and she was good. She was one of the few shining moments in the original Suicide Squad. She was one of the few. Her performance in that, and then she brings it back and doubles down on the in part 2. She's just chef's kiss. She came with it,
dude.
She's despicable. You know, she has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. But she's doing it for the job. You know,
she was scary. Like she was a genuinely scary character. I thought I mean, you know, the thing about it is she's this middle-aged woman. Like how threatening can you possibly be? And she shows you. You know, I'm like, God damn. She exercises that power like nobody's business. I thought that was amazing. But you were asking me go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say quick because I'm still thinking about like my favorite scene.
Yeah.
My favorite scenes. My favorite and worst scenes were both delivered by the same character, and that was Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. The scene when she's like falling in love with the president, to me, was just a complete waste of time. I was like, this is just boring. It's not funny to me or whatever it is. But then she has another scene where she's breaking herself out of prison or she's not out of prison or jail or whatever it is, which was amazing. Like to me, and I'm thinking about it's probably one of my favorite scenes. She kills it to me, especially with the flowers popping up and the little cartoon critters running around. As you're like in this weird, surreal world of how she sees everything is going down, and then she breaks herself out. And then what's great is like the tail end is like she discovers the mission that the rest of her Suicide Squad is in the middle of to rescue her. And she's just like, oh man, you know, I can go back in there and you can go back there and save me. I love that. I think that was probably my favorite scene. So she had the best and the worst scene to me in one movie.
That what you just described reminded me of Courtney Wright for some odd reason. I don't know why. I can go back there if you want to rescue me. Okay, so but to wrap up the conversation, like about your favorite scene, like the thing is, like I just wish they did more with that relationship with Idris Elba's or Bloodsport's daughter, because in the trailer they made a whole point about that where she's like, "Oh my God, that's my dad." I thought that there was just going to be more there, and it just nothing really came to fruition there. Maybe that's left for the sequel, but I just thought more could have been done there as a means of giving him an arc, as opposed to this artificial one between him and Ratcatcher. And so my favorite scene was the scene that you hated, which is when Harley Quinn is falling in love with this dude. I thought I had a whiplash moment. Okay, I don't know if you know how much I love the movie Whiplash. It's my favorite movie. And for those who haven't seen it, there's this scene where what's the main actress? Miles Teller is trying to get back to this conservatory performance, and he's in a mad rush, and he has a major car accident. And I'm like, oh shit! The next scene is going to be him waking up in the hospital, and it's like he gets his drumsticks, gets out and hobbles, and runs to the fucking performance. When I'm thinking he's just going to end up in the hospital, but no, he goes and he's trying to perform. And I'm like, oh wow! So what he's going to do is he's going to perform amazing, despite being in a car accident. It's like, no, he completely fucks up the music. And Fletcher tells him, or not Fletcher, what's his name? The main actor who plays who's the head of the news? J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons. He says, you know, you're fired. You get off the stage. And I thought, okay, so now Miles Teller's going to walk off, his tail between his legs. But instead, he hops over the drum set and starts choking out J.K. Simmons. like I could never expect what the movie was going to do next. It's like it kept catching me off guard. And so likewise here, when Margot Robbie was falling in love with him, I thought, oh shit, okay, so what's going to happen now? Because I'm trying, you know, as a filmmaker or whatever, you're trying to anticipate where the film's going. I'm thinking the Suicide Squad is going to have to battle this dude and his army, and Harley Quinn is in the center of it all, and she's going to have to decide which side she's on. And it's going to be difficult for her to figure that out. I thought that's where the movie was going. And then she shoots him. And I was like, what? What is happening in this movie? And, like, you hear her logic. And I'm like,
right.
Okay. But the fact that she killed him caught me so off guard. It was the only violent scene in the movie where I was like, that worked for me. Because I didn't see it coming. I had no idea that was what was coming next. It just completely, like, caught me off guard. That's why I love that scene so much. It was the only scene in the film that caught me off guard, where I was like, that's a plot twist. You know?
I can see that. I think I've been so lulled by the Harley Quinn story about the redone Harley Quinn story, because in the original she was just, Joker's side chick, and she just did whatever was needed because she loved her man. I love my Dr. J, my Mr. J. And I loved that Harley Quinn. I loved that one because she was great, because she was batshit crazy, but got the job done. But then because of the times that we're in, they retooled her, and now she's a different version, and now she's lesbian. She doesn't like her old dude. It's all about, I'm not gonna let some man take me down, and which is great. It's great for the times that we're in. I totally get it. But because I've been just beat over the head with it over and over and over, I was like, I get it. Joker did you wrong. F that dude. It's in the same thing with the series when she's like, I'm done with all men in general, and then she falls in love, has a lesbian relationship with the plant girl. So I get that. And then they did the whole thing with Harley Quinn's re-emancipation of Harley Quinn. I get that. Like this whole trope of, I don't need no man, I don't need no man, I don't need a man. I get it. And then when I saw this one pop up, the same thing, she falls in love and then she shoots him. I'm like, I get it. I get it. All right, I get it. Just shoot the dude. I know no dude's gonna love you. Respect, I get it. So for me, it was just the straw. It was the final straw. I was like, can we just get back to you being an awesome fighter or sub-hero or whatever, anti-hero? And then it paid off when she did that other scene. So that's why I didn't like it. I'm just
I get you. I get you. I hear you, man. The scene you were talking about earlier, where the fight scene, I thought that was pretty dope as well for the same reasons you outlined. With regards to what you're talking about, I for some reason it never surprised me that she was a bisexual character. She just strikes me as.
Oh, it works.
Yeah,
it works. It works. It definitely works. Yeah. Especially in the animated series, it works. You're like, that makes perfect sense.
Well, it achieves two things for studios. You get to appease the SJWs because
check those boxes.
Yeah, you get to check those boxes because it's like, oh, we're looking out for the LGBTQ community, and it's like, oh, look at us, we're forward thinking. But the other part of it is you get to pass the Bechtel test very easily. Anytime you do anything with lesbians, it's easier to pass the Bechtel test. For those of you who don't know what the Bechtel test is, the question posed is, do you have any scenes in your film with a woman talking to another woman? And if she's talking to another woman, is she talking about a man? Right. Because usually, like, especially with Margot Robbie, I mean, she's talking about the Joker, Mr. J, all the time.
Mr. J! I love that old version, though. That was funny.
But generally speaking, when you have a woman in a movie, she's usually talking to a guy. If she's not talking to a guy, she's talking about a guy. And to be fair, in real life, no female conversation I've ever listened to, ever eavesdropped on, passed the Bechtel test. Ever. But hey, you got to do it in the movies to appease the SJWs. Someone in the chat, I've got two chat windows going here. One that's like current and one that's the like old that I haven't gotten to yet. They said that Suicide Squad did not do well at the box office. So I got this Hollywood Reporter article here. It says the box office recovery took another hit as Warner Brothers and DC's critical darling, The Suicide Squad, opened to a less than expected $26.5 million from 4,002 North American theaters and challenges posed by the Delta variant and a hybrid theatrical home launch. The movie could claim one victory. It scored the top North American opening of the pandemic era for an R-rated title. Overseas, where COVID-19 is likewise on the rise, in a number of territories, The Suicide Squad collected a muted $35 million from 71 markets, for a foreign tally of $45.7 million and global take of $72.2 million. James Gunn directed the standalone sequel, blah, blah, blah. So, my favorite character was probably King Shark, by the way. I just got to get that out there.
Who is surprisingly, Sylvester Stallone was the voice of that. I didn't know that until after the fact. I was like, oh, okay, I can see that.
Well, I knew he was in the movie. I just didn't know how. I thought he was going to make an appearance, and then I realized that was his voice. Like, the more he was talking, I'm like, oh, hey, look, Rocky. So I'm sure that this wasn't helped by the fact that it's a rated R movie.
Yeah.
That you got a huge challenge in front of you when it's rated R because less people can see it, and it's not helped by the fact that it's incredibly violent. So it's like sometimes with a rated R film you can still kind of take your kids to watch it. This is not one of those instances.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's like Deadpool. Same thing with Deadpool. It's not a kid's film.
But didn't Deadpool do well?
Yeah, it did very well, but doesn't mean it's good for a kid. It's not for children. You wouldn't take your 9-year-old daughter to go see Deadpool. That's not.
I know, but
that's not the audience for that.
But for a rated R movie, it made almost $1 billion.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, it proves that there's an audience that's outside of just family fun and family viewing that should be watching this, but it's not for children.
Damn, dude, both movies. The second one made more money than the first one. That's incredible. That never happens. That's incredible. The second one made more money than the first one. Deadpool.
Oh,
yeah,
it did. I can believe that. Yeah, they also have more money too. So,
yeah,
bigger budget, more marketing.
But anyway, that sucks that it didn't. I just realized that you can't see what I'm seeing. So let me. This is gonna fuck things up for a second, but I'm gonna share my screen with you so you can see what I'm seeing.
Yeah, go for it.
Where is this darn thing? Right there. I'm gonna lose you for a hot second, and I'm gonna fix that. Let me see. Let me see if I can just reshape this. Oh.
Yeah, I think this was a Warner Brothers film, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, they're just gonna take that L, man. When it comes to ticket sales, the box office sales aren't going to be what they are, which brings up a whole other conversation with a lot of these studios getting allegedly sued by some of the people, like with the Black Widow thing that's going on. The director, one of the Nolan brothers, is really upset when they did Tenet and went straight to. There's like a lot of people that's upset because the box office, people that are getting points on the back end aren't getting their money because of the box office stuff. But what do you expect? You're in the middle of a pandemic, man. Like, the box office isn't what it was. No, because people can't leave the house. I don't understand the shock.
Right.
Just me? Am I just being like?
Well, the thing is,
it seems like an obvious no-brainer. I was like, yeah, of course it's not going to be 150 million in box office receipts. You were expecting that?
No. It's that when the studio is trying to pivot, they did not include everybody in the conversation. And so Scarlett Johansson was not included in the conversation about this pivot. And the thing about it is actors, for the longest time, Netflix and stuff like that was considered new media, experimental media, and they didn't know. Yeah. It's like, so these studios and companies were kind of getting around having to pay actors as much because they're like, oh, it's new media. We don't know. But it's like, yes, you fucking do know. There's clicks. This is measured. All of this is measured information. Like, exactly the impressions being made. Like, YouTube tells me my fucking impressions every day. Like, know the impressions being made with each of these clicks, with each of these views. And so this is measurable data, meaning you have zero excuses not to pay your actors right. And so, these big companies are always trying to get around paying actors residuals and compensating actors appropriately. And so what happened with Disney is they did a fucking faux pas because they didn't include Scarlett Johansson in the conversation when they decided to pivot and make this a streaming movie. What they should have done was what Warner Brothers did, which is they paid out Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman. They're like, look, we're in a pandemic. We got to pivot. We're going to do this. We're going to compensate you with this much. And she's like, cool. So she's happy. She's getting her. She's getting hers, right? Whereas with Scarlett Johansson wasn't getting hers. And Kevin Feige was on her side.
But and please correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't her argument more coming from the standpoint of the producer's side of, because she's like a producer as well on Black Widow.
And the problem was
supposed to be getting points on the back end.
Yes, exactly.
But that, from my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong again, the whole concept of taking points on the back end is you're gambling. You're gambling the amount of money that you're going to make based on the amount of people that see it, based on box office sales. It's not a guarantee. It's a gamble. It seems like a sure thing, and most likely it is a sure thing when you're dealing with a property as big as the MCU and dealing with Marvel. It's like it's a layup. It's like, of course I'm going to take points on the back end because it's going to be a money-making machine. There's not really a risk.
Yeah.
But for people that do projects that aren't in that same vein of absolute guaranteed gold line of money, when you take points on the back end, it's really like going to Vegas. You're like, I don't know if this movie's going to do well, but I'm going to gamble some of my salary and then just take the points on the back end. You gamble. You're going to the table and playing craps with your salary.
Right.
To me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, She did that thinking it was going to be a guarantee and forgot that it's really a roulette wheel. She forgot that she's still in Vegas, and the pandemic, she crapped out. You know, like a roulette table, it's either red or it's black. She hit green and she crapped out. It was the most unlikely thing that was going to happen, but you willingly gambled. So I don't understand like why everybody's upset. No, you gambled. That is what happened. It rolled. It came up green. It came up the most unlikely thing for you to hit, and now you're mad.
Right.
That's the part that I don't get.
And
please correct me if I'm wrong.
So the reason why my understanding might be incorrect, but my understanding was she's getting money on the back end of the box office, but initially it wasn't going to be a movie that was also streaming for $30 a pop. And she was not. From my understanding, she was not included in the opportunity to make money off of that streaming money.
You gambled. I don't understand. Like I can understand like if it was a SAG contract and they violated the SAG rules that you had already stipulated. But she was like, I'm not worried about the SAG guaranteed acting money. I'm worried about this producer money.
Right. And
the producer money is what she gambled. And the producer money didn't pan out because she crapped out. Now she's mad and wants to call foul. I'm willing to happily admit that I'm wrong and I'm seeing it from the wrong angle if somebody can clarify that for me. But that's not the way it's being read to me. You gambled. You lost.
Yeah.
You know, that sucks, but you got to keep it moving.
Well,
and
anyway.
That's why Disney's like,
Yeah.
But I know we're getting way off the topic.
Yeah, we're getting lost in the weeds.
Of Suicide Squad. My bad.
No,
let's rate it back in.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, it's conversations just go in different directions all the time. But what did you think of the? I want to do one thing because I'm neurotic. I'm just gonna make my thing a little brighter because you're bright as shit. I'm gonna make my thing a little bit brighter. Give me 2 seconds here. Let me see. Oh, other way. There we go. Let me see how that looks. That's a little bit better. Now I'm a little bit more even with you. So, what did you think of the opening of the movie? Because the whole thing was a fake out opening.
Yeah, it did fake me out. Obviously we didn't know about Team 2. I thought it was going to be like a prequel before we understand the real team, because you see the first team and they're like, that's not the team that's in the trailer except for Harley Quinn. And it was cool to see Boomerang Man. I was like, oh man, I remember you from part 1.
Yeah.
They dropped him on the thing and then the thing happens. All craziness happens and people start getting murked. I thought that was great. I was like, that's a good way to kind of get this story started. And then you realize it's, the diversion. They were the diversion team.
Yeah.
How about you?
I thought it was interesting. They set the tone for the violence right away. I was like, God damn. You see brains and innards right away. I'm like, golly. And I guess that takes me back to the conversation that we were having at the beginning, which is like the violence stayed at a 10 the entire time. And it's like when you start there and you just keep it there, it's like after a while, you're desensitized. It doesn't have any impact. I think that was my biggest issue with the violence in the film was I didn't feel anything after a while. It's like, okay, that's a stylistic choice. That's what anime does. I'm like, yeah, that's all well and good. But that doesn't mean I feel something. I need to feel something. Violence should make me feel something. That's, we were talking about Martin Scorsese earlier. And, like, anytime there's violence in his movies, I always feel shocked. I'm like, whoa, okay, it takes me back. Because I'm not expecting it. If it does happen, it's like, it kind of hurts a little bit whenever you see it. It's meant to disturb you, right?
Right.
Whereas here, it's like, oh, it's just like, it's a cartoon. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have a feeling the same way when I'm watching a cartoon as when I'm watching a Scorsese film. You know what I mean?
Did you think any of it was clever? Like, okay, like for example, when Bloodsport and the Peacemaker are having their kill off in the middle of destroying the guerrilla faction as they're getting on the island, and he shoots the guy and he's like, wounding people doesn't really count, and Peacemaker's like, just wait for it, and then it explodes. It's overly violent and gory and everything, but it was kind of like a funny moment. It was like, oh
yeah, that was funny. No, that was funny.
Or maybe when King Shark, when he's looking at the cute little jellyfish creatures in the aquarium, and he's running around, he's having like this childlike moment, and then the aquarium breaks, and then they just turn into these ravenous animals, and they're like jacking them up, taking out these big chunks of flesh, and there's blood all over the place. I thought that was playful violence. It was way
it was clever. That was clever. That was pretty clever. I thought that was but like I like King Shark in general. Like anything with King Shark, I enjoyed. Even the violent stuff with King Shark, I enjoyed because I just like him, and so it got me most of the way through the film because he was just such an enjoyable character. And I think it has to do with innocence. It's just like King Shark is this film's Groot. It's like he's just this kind of dumb character that he's got a lot of heart, and that's what it comes down to. You know, that takes you a long way. That takes you a really long way. There's some people going back and forth in the chat, basically saying that it was a mediocre film. Meet the Spartan says it's a mediocre movie. I don't know why people are hyping it up so much. I hated when Flag died. I thought it was really done well. It just fits this movie really well. It's overrated, basically. Justice League was good though. The Snyder cut. Yeah, after 5 minutes, the violence didn't have impact. It was definitely hilarious. So I'm sorry. I've been neglecting to consider the chat this entire conversation, so I'm trying to include them now.
Those are good points. I'm glad that there's other people that kind of felt that, kind of like how we felt. We was just like, it was okay. It was all right.
Volmix says that Jaby's gonna hate The Boys. Do you think
because of the violence?
Do you think The Boys is exactly the same as this?
Well, it's definitely very, very violent, extremely violent. And if the violence is a big part of what turns you off, then you're gonna have a difficult time watching The Boys because it's super violent.
Do you think tonally it's exactly the same?
No, because it's a different kind of funny.
Okay.
Like you can mistaken some of the violence and funny tones in this one to be almost childlike, funny, like teenage potty humor kind of.
Yes.
Whereas The Boys, it's dark. It's dark humor.
Gotcha. I might enjoy that.
Funny though.
I might enjoy that more. I have no idea until I watch it. I've been dancing around this for a long time. I just need to watch the damn thing. I just need to set aside the time to shoot a reaction to it. I am looking forward to seeing it. I am a little bit concerned about what we've been talking about, which is the violence in the show. But I have a feeling that because it's episodic, I'll be able to deal with it a little bit better, as opposed to this 2-hour block of time of just like epic level 10 gore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Mortal Kombat fatalities end to end is what Suicide Squad felt like for me.
I think for me, I didn't understand the best way I can describe it. I didn't understand the nuances of a lot of stunts and hand-to-hand combat scenes until I talked to you. I say this all the time, and you opened my eyes to the storytelling element within a lot of fight scenes, and it's not just people, just slapping hands together with like a lot of quick cuts. You don't get a chance to really see the story being told. I feel like there's a new art in violence that's doing this now, where it's not like the old 80s splatter films where you're just sticking axes in people's heads and you just see the blood spew all over the place. There's actually like a story that's being told that goes along with the violence. With the example that we gave with Bloodsport and Peacemaker, having a shooting contest, that violence was like the end of the story of that small part in the story of King Shark running around having fun with the aquarium. Do you think that is a new form of storytelling, violence, speaking in the language of violence, or am I making something more than it should?
Can you do a short version of your question? That was a long version of your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a beginning, middle, and end to the violence.
Yes.
The story.
Yes.
We'll just use King Shark. He sees these cute little fish. He dances with them. He gets to know them. He bonds them. They're my friends.
Yeah.
The aquarium breaks, and we find out they're not his friends. They're trying to devour him, and as a result, it's over-the-top violence. But there was a story that justifies the violence. Is that a new art form of telling stories through violence?
I don't think so. I think that's been around for a while, but it's the first time we're seeing it on this scale.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. It's just dialed up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I mean, it's certainly in terms of like the punchline of jokes. Yeah, I mean, like you don't often see, except with the exception of Deadpool, you don't often see this level of violence for humor. Like It's like I said, level 10 gore. Like I like that scene with King Shark. I thought that was great. Because you're expecting those fishies to be cute and friendly, and it's the exact opposite. I'm like, if there's not an analogy for life, goddamn. You're expecting it to be all like, nice and cute and friendly and warm, and then they just tries to eat you alive. Like, whoa, welcome to Los Angeles.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. That to me is a perfect analogy for Los Angeles right there. You just like. And so, Shivam Gupta says, I have a big problem with DC. They just kill off their characters. It's idiotic. Yeah, but I thought that that was actually, objectively that was a good opening because it catches you off guard. But the biggest problem with the film, and I think Achara had the same issue, was I wasn't rooted emotionally into anything. Like, with Guardians of the Galaxy, there was something rooting me emotionally. I don't know what it was, but I was something in there had me hooked. I can't even remember. I can't even tell you what it was. I can't articulate it. But I think it had something to do with Quill. Like there was something there that was like, I'm rooting for this guy. And I think it's just because he's the underdog. I don't know. But here, it felt like a domino effect, which is a way to tell a story. It's fine. But the movie was just sort of like going all over the place. And you're I think you're distracted by the violence and the ha-has that you don't even notice that you're not really seeing. What is the story?
That's a good question.
Like I couldn't if I was to summarize for you the story, I would have a hard time. I know they're supposed to get this thing that's inside this building,
right?
And then it turns out America's the bad guy. Oh, that's a surprise. Yeah. Like, thanks. Like, I don't hear that enough.
You know what else kind of threw me too was when Starro finally died and his last little minion was like, I just wanted to float in space and stare at the stars. I'm like, dang, you made this dude made him out to be the worst possible thing ever, and he was just really a victim as well. I was like, that sucks. He was just a little old starfish just chilling, enjoying the stars, and gets kidnapped by a bunch of astronauts and enslaved. Yeah, I'd be pissed too. I mean, I'd probably want to break out and kick some ass too.
Achara got annoyed with the starfish thing. She's like, the bad guy was all right. Like because she didn't feel anything about the bad guy. Like when you watch something like The Dark Knight, like you feel things with the Joker. When you watch Black Panther, you feel things with Killmonger. Here I didn't. You don't really feel anything with the bad guy, at least initially, until the thing you mentioned. But she was getting annoyed with the fact that like he's spewing out all these like fish, these avatar fish, starfish, that are going on people's faces, and everyone's just running around with their hands up like that. No one's blocking themselves. I'm like, she's like, is everybody that stupid? Like, she's just like, I don't buy that. Why wouldn't anyone? You see what's happening. Why wouldn't anyone like just cover their faces? That's obviously they're pulling an alien. Like, why isn't anyone covering their faces? But like by that point in the film, I didn't give a shit. Like I had no dog in the fight. I wasn't emotionally invested. I was like, it's fine.
What was the overall story? Redemption? You think? Maybe
that's supposed to be the story of it.
Even though you're a bad person, you can still change your ways.
That's the same theme from the last one. It's supposed to be a story of redemption. But and so SM Gaming, I don't know if he's still here. He says, I never thought that James Gunn would kill off almost 70% of the squad. Okay, here's a question for you, because this goes back again the recurring conversations, the violence, right? What did you think of the scene where what's the name of the character? I don't remember the names of everybody's name character in this film. He's the guy from what? Nathan Fillion was in this movie? Did you know that Nathan Fillion was in this?
No, who was he?
He plays
voice?
He plays TDK.
TDK. Oh, the guy that could take his arms off?
Yeah, that was Nathan Fillion.
That was him? Really?
Yeah.
That didn't look like him. Huh.
That's surprising.
Yeah, a totally pointless villain. There's something funny about that. Like, did you think something amazing was going to happen when he took his arms off and he threw them? And it's like, oh man, there's going to be that moment where something dope is going to happen. And all he did was like,
yeah, I mean,
I was like, that was it?
Yeah.
And then he gets murked.
Yeah. That was, to me, that was like, it was weird because my brain was like, wait, why would they put this person on the team? But at the same time, it was hilarious. It was funny that his hands had like no purpose. It was just like slapping people and shit. I'm like, why would they include this guy? Like,
I had no idea that was Nathan Fillion. Now I gotta watch it again. Okay.
What's the name of the actor from House of Cards? He's also in Altered Carbon. He's the star of Altered Carbon. Oh, Joel Kinnaman. He plays Flag.
Oh, yeah. Flag.
Okay, his scene when he gets killed, and John Cena puts the thing through his chest, and then goes. The camera goes inside of his chest, and you see his heart get stabbed. Yeah. I'm just like, am I like? Is the movie for idiots? Like, I don't understand. Like, why you needed that shot? Like, oh, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't know he was dying. Like,
yeah, overkill. They're like, we want you to know he ain't coming back.
I hated that.
I was surprised he was even in the second one. I was like, dang, they blew dust off of this dude.
Yeah.
But you know what? Once Boomerang died in the opening sequence, I kind of figured that like all bets were off. I was like, man, anybody can kind of get it once they kill Boomerang Man. I just knew he was gonna make it to the end. I was like, oh man, Boomerang Man's back. Nope.
Yeah.
5 minutes in.
Yeah. But when they killed off Flag, I was annoyed with them. I was like, that was like the jumping the shark moment for me. Like just like in terms of the violence, I'm like, damn, like you went there for what? Why are you doing this Romeo must die shit? Like, why? Did you see Romeo Must Die?
Yeah.
In Romeo Must Die, they had this whole thing and made me like dislike the movie a little bit, where when Jet Li's fighting and he like breaks someone, the camera goes into this X-ray mode, like Mortal Kombat. I'm like, what do you like? Because if you didn't do that, I wouldn't know. Like, come on, I think we're a little bit better than that. It just took me out of the movie. And so SM Gaming asks, what do you like better, Suicide Squad or Snyder Cut?
Snyder Cut.
Yeah, me too, Snyder Cut, yeah. I'm surprised you like the Snyder Cut better. That actually surprises me a little bit.
Yeah, well, because it's more of a story. This is just like a quick fun ride at an amusement park. You know, and often you do.
Joseph Alex says, movie was good, killing great characters was just a mistake. Oh, wait, hold on. Movie was good, killing great characters was just a mistake. I'm pissed off by seeing that. So, I don't know. Like that.
See, that's coming from somebody that may not necessarily come from comic book culture, because they kill characters off in comics all the time, and then they bring them right back. So if you're not used to that, I could understand that being a jarring thing. You're like, oh my God, they killed that person off. But when you start dealing with like different timelines and Earth, different versions of Earth and all that other stuff, nobody's really dead.
Right. Valmik Sony says, I wonder if they'll get Will Smith for the next Suicide Squad, if there's going to be one.
Hope not.
Will Smith is still trying to make up for his mistake with the Matrix. He's been trying to correct that for years. You know, what's his name? I think Sean Connery famously turned down the Matrix. He's like,
really? Who is he supposed to be? Please don't tell me he's supposed to be Morpheus.
Morpheus. Yeah, Morpheus.
Really?
Yeah, he turned down he turned down the Matrix. Like a lot of people turn down the Matrix. Actually, I think the cast they have for the Matrix is perfect. Like you couldn't do a better job than that. Everyone worked really well for that film. But yeah, so Sean Connery turned it down because he didn't understand it. He's like, I don't get this movie. I just don't understand it. And so he went and did the Justice League, something of Justice, League of Justice or something.
Oh, Extraordinary League of Gentlemen.
Yes,
Extraordinary League.
Yeah, he did that, and he's like,
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, he went and did that because, and he's like, look, I said no last time because I didn't understand it, so I'm gonna say yes this time, even though I don't understand it. And then the movie bombed. Nobody liked it. He's like, I'm just done. I'm not coming back to movies.
Yeah.
So
can you blame actors for saying no to the Matrix though? Imagine like you've never seen that's what makes the Matrix great, is because nobody's ever seen anything like that. And you're staking your career on a Hail Mary. A lot of folks would be like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Who are these people? The Wachowski? What have they done?
Yeah. Yeah. Tom Cruise turned it down too. Mr. K says, I'd give it 6 out of 10. Not bad, but not good either. So a lot of people feel like it's all right, surprisingly, because like the Rotten Tomatoes had me like wondering if something was wrong with me. You know,
that's what I'm with you. The hype train from the reviewers was just crazy. So I went in there thinking I was gonna just get blown away, and I was like, oh, okay, it was all right. It's all right. I didn't hate it.
can't spell right now. There it is. Okay, the Suicide Squad.
Rotten Tomatoes has become less and less reliable. Each year it becomes less and less reliable to me.
Okay, so when it came out the gate initially, it had like 100% Rotten Tomato score. Now it's down to 92 in terms of critics. And I really believe a lot of that is this comeback thing of, yay, James Gunn. You know, like I said, if this exact same movie, same words, same shot for shot, like same script was done by Michael Bay, and in exactly the same way, you just swap out James Gunn's name from Michael Bay, I don't think this would be a 92%. I feel like it would be like a 50% by the critics. You know what I'm saying? Audience score, whether it's Michael Bay or James Gunn.
Higher than I thought it would be.
Huh?
The audience score is a bit higher than I thought it would have been. I thought it probably would have been like, right at 80.
No, I thought it would have been 90. I thought the audience score would have been higher, to be honest with you. Let's see. We're not supposed to notice all this pilfering from movies of our childhood, but I noticed them. The movie's a mess. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Sometimes the way critics talk is just like...
I think people are upset because some of the characters got killed. But here's the thing: all the people that died, the whole movie is about obscure characters that nobody knows about. Nobody knows about the Weasel. Nobody gives a damn about the Peacemaker. You're gonna really sit here and tell me you're gonna get mad because Javelin Man got killed? Get out of here. Right. It's not like they murdered the Flash. Or killed Green Lantern. I think this resonates with me. The lack of narrative momentum or compelling character arcs starts to wear on you. The jokes get old too. That's how I felt watching the movie. I was just like tired. I was tired. I looked at Achara like 3/4 of the way in the movie. I'm like, I'm tired. She's like, I'm tired too. Like I was just exhausted. Now that might not have been helped by the fact that we just watched Free Guy. It's watching two movies back to back can be exhausting. But still, it's like a good movie is gonna still be a good movie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're still going to enjoy it nonetheless. And so that's why I'm like, maybe if I watch it a second time later on, I'll enjoy it more. But Gunn is much better suited to the material, though while the end result is gorier, funnier, and occasionally more heartfelt than its predecessor, it doesn't quite coalesce into something totally fun or totally meaningful. So I feel like that resonates with you. Yeah, I think we're, people in general, we're moving towards the dark side of entertainment and want to be more inspired and enlightened just because of just the nature of the times. I think this movie, you make the same movie, 5 years ago, it probably would have gotten a totally different response. Totally different response.
Good or bad?
Everybody's kind of like, I think I probably got a way better response because it's cool you're in a good space, so you can look at something that's overly gory and stuff like that and, go back to your good space. But folks are in a bad space and they're seeing a movie where jacked up stuff is happening and then they got to go back to their bad space. It doesn't really leave you wanting more. You know what I mean?
Are you excited for the Peacemaker show? We talked about that already. What do you think of the Flash movie leaks so far? I haven't seen any of the Flash leaks.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Other than the Batmobile or the Bat Cycle crashing, that's one thing I keep seeing pop up over and over again.
Okay, has Syntell watched The Long Halloween?
No, I haven't watched. I haven't read the comic, and I haven't seen the animated version yet either. Not yet. It's on my to-do list.
Who is the best Suicide Squad character according to you guys? That's from Charon5537.
I think to me the funniest one is Polka Dot Man to me. The best actor is Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba I thought was great. He carried the movie. He carried the movie. Like I mean, I'm an Idris Elba fan though. So Boomish Bonawall says my only problem with the movie was the marketing. The trailers were so bad in my opinion that they basically showed all the jokes, and while some of them did land, it was meh. The first one had huge hype with Joker. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and then it fell flat because the Joker didn't deliver. Because Jared Leto didn't deliver.
Yeah. I didn't like Jared Leto's Joker. It's just like, but to be honest with you, this is probably you and I never really talked about Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, did we?
Yeah, I mean, like not on in the interwebs, no.
I don't remember our conversation. I didn't really. That's not a movie I ever want to watch again.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was bold. It was a bold film, but it was just painful to watch. I didn't like that feeling. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need this in my life. Like, I'm having a hard time with this, and so everything always gets compared to Heath Ledger. It always will. I mean, at least
always will.
Yeah, and so it didn't measure up to Heath Ledger for me.
No, of course not.
You know, like I enjoyed watching Heath Ledger. That was entertaining. This was not.
Yeah.
Joker was not entertaining. It made me upset, and I entered upset. I walked out upset. I'm just like, damn, you know.
Yeah, and Heath Ledger wasn't political. Heath Ledger's Joker wasn't political. This Joker was political. It was politics.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't even know why I brought that up, but I guess I never heard your feelings about it.
I thought it was a very good work of art. Is one, and like you, I could see it once and be done. I haven't watched it again. I thought Joaquin's version of Joker was really good. It's very good, excellent actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so attached to Heath Ledger's version. To me, it's the high watermark. It's the ceiling, and it didn't measure up to that. And instead, I got politics involved. You know, subtle politics.
Helix 21. I don't know.
Click on me or I'll flip out. And people justifying that bullshit. No.
Helix 21. I don't know if you're still here. He says Endgame just sucks. First Avengers was better than the other 3 movies. I'm like, wow. All right, dude. Sounds like a hater. I don't know about you.
Oh, sir. Stand alone. I respect your opinion.
For some reason, Duraj888, I don't know if you realize this, but John Cena is alive. He didn't die.
Yeah.
Like, he said he stopped watching the movie when John Cena died. I'm like, you didn't see the ending credits.
Yeah, in the ending, he's alive. Hence his series.
Ramon La Torrena says, I think Edgar Wright would be perfect for making a superhero movie.
I do too. I agree with that.
Is there any character you wanted not to die on the island?
The ridiculousness of TDK might have been funny to see, because his powers are absolutely ridiculous. He doesn't do anything, and to see them force him to have some kind of relevance might have been funny, and maybe Weasel too.
I think TDK could have actually been quite useful. I played the shit out of Metal Gear Solid 5, and one of the things you acquire along the way is the ability to launch your hand to do shit to like guys who were unsuspecting just walking around. You can launch your hand and punch them.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, yeah. And you know what? And now that we've just recently discovered that Nathan Fillion was the actor behind TDK, now that I'm really thinking about it, yeah, I do feel disappointed. I would have absolutely wanted TDK, but let Nathan Fillion really get a chance to breathe some life into that character and make him really funny, because that dude is funny, man.
I wish they made Uncharted when he was younger.
Oh, he would have been perfect. But wasn't that character based off of him?
It was based off of him. That's why the character's name is Nathan. You know,
Nathan Drake. You're right.
You know, he played him. He played him in a fan film. Did you see that?
No, didn't know that.
There's a fan film of Uncharted. It's not good. It's all right, but you get to see Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake, and that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, what a waste. That would have been fun to see him as TDK more. You know, he would have had some fun with his detachable arms.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, murdered senselessly. I wonder if he was a real DC character. I bet he was.
Let's see. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the chat here and see what else people are saying. I felt like it was decent, like you said, but Ratcatcher 2 is my favorite character, and it ties into what the movie shows, that even bad guys, I think he means bad guys, can have good parts about them, and it's not black and white. Yeah.
What did the Ratcatcher 2 do to get thrown into the world's worst prison?
That's the problem with these. That's a problem with these kinds of movies, dude. It's just like you got so many characters. How do you? That's why in the first Suicide Squad they basically made it like a trailer, where they're like they just showed you the profile. And it's like that's not how you tell a story. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't just give us a Super Nintendo, booklet bio. You know what I'm saying?
They need to bring those back.
You know what I'm talking about?
Nate. Yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. Yeah. It's like show the story. Don't just, walk us through the steps. I missed something, and maybe you in the chat can help me. What was the reason why Ratcatcher 2 kept sleeping? Like, they kept beating us over the head with it over and over again, but I didn't get the payoff. So why was she always sleepy?
I think it's just her character. It's just a quirk about her character. She's just like lazy. I think she represents, to me, she must represent I would imagine. I mean, this is a shot in the dark, so I'll look it up. James Gunn probably has a daughter, and who's a millennial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I
All
think
right.
I think it's sort of the millennial vibe, like just sleeping, whatever. Let me see. James Gunn family. Jenna Fisher, Sean Gunn. No, okay. Let me see. Does James Gunn have kids?
All right. I was just making sure I didn't miss something because it seemed like a really important thing that they kept talking about over and over again.
Let me see. Children, kids. I don't know. I don't know if he's got kids. I'm trying to see. Does you know if he's got kids? Anyone know? There's got to be something there. I'm sure he's got family. Family. Let me see. Personal, early life, Gunn, career, music, blah, blah, blah. No, nothing. Controversy. Oh, here's the controversy. If you want to hear about that, for anyone who's not in the loop. Off-color jokes he had tweeted. That's how it's summarized. Gunn was rehired in March 2019 after a mass public appeal, many saying he was the reason for the previous movie's success. So he's coming back for Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess.
Yeah, I know he's doing another one, and he's doing like two of them. There's like a Christmas special for Guardians of the Galaxy that he's doing.
Yeah.
And then there's like another version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Gunn married actress Jenna Fisher October 7th, 2000. After 7 years of marriage, Gunn and Fisher announced their separation. In a joint statement, 2010, Fisher persuaded Gunn to cast Rainn Wilson, her co-star on The Office, in Gunn's film Super. I guess they stayed friends. Gunn has been in a relationship with actress Jennifer Holland since 2015. He was raised Roman Catholic and has mentioned how prayer continues to play an important role in his life, but he has also said that in some ways he's anti-religion. Jesus. Like, what modern day Catholic isn't saying that exact thing? You know, like every modern Catholic is struggling. Like I'm Catholic on Sundays. You know, I'm Catholic on what's the holiday with the Palm Sunday?
You say with the
that's
your palm.
Yeah. Sharam says, already frustrated with the pandemic and don't want to go watch a movie that infuriates me even more.
That's what I feel you, brother. I think you're not the only one that feels that way.
Weasel to me was like the Weasley character from Ice Age.
I can see that. Scrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like looking for
His
nuts.
His eyes were so disturbing. They're all bugged out. Yo, and then what's crazy is that he was in there for murdering like 27 kids or something. Like he's a child murderer. I'm glad they didn't make him look endearing and cute. They should have made him like Pedo Bear.
Do you believe there are? Oh, by the way, someone was talking about some audio issues, and OBS is just OBS is OBS, man. I can't control it. It's just is what it is. Do you believe that there are critics who supported Zack Snyder more? That's why they gave negative rating on James Gunn. I don't believe that at all.
No.
I think that if anything, James Gunn's gotten more support.
Yeah.
Do
you think that there's just like this group of people whose whole purpose is to move critic scores in a certain way? Like there's like a band of people that meet on Wednesdays and they're like, today we're going to attack this particular website and give them 5s out of 10s. That just seems like kind of over top conspiracy theory wise. I hear this all the time.
That's not over the top. That's called Reddit.
Touche. I humbly bow out on that. Okay.
I mean, you see what they're doing with the stock market all the time. You know.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point.
I mean, that's the thing about today's day and age is like, if you want to do damage, you got some fellows out there that want to do damage with you. You band together and you do this thing. Rotten Tomatoes has been trying to fight against that, like especially after Star Wars, one of the Star Wars films, I think, or Captain Marvel. I forget which one. Either Star Wars or Captain Marvel influenced the way Rotten Tomatoes conducts its business. I think because I think it might have been Captain Marvel, because everyone got really, really mad at Brie Larson because she's a man-hater. I'm like, she's stupid. I don't know why she's saying what she's saying. Like, it's like, do you know who subscribes to Marvel? Like, you stupid.
We're here on that.
Yeah.
We're here on that. So there's this thing that's going on. So the source material for all these films that you love is comics and graphic novels, right?
Yeah.
There's a big shift happening in comic book culture. Comic books are like losing steam like dramatically. The MCU is doing good and the DCU is doing good, but American graphic novels are heading down the tank. Whereas on the other side of that, manga overseas is like going out of control. And there's some theories, and one of the theories is manga can get really weird. It can get really strange. And one of the theories is that manga knows its following, respects its crowd, and gives them what they want. Whereas American comic book creators are kind of like placating to whatever the new hashtag is going to be. Just call it what it is. So with the source material being somewhat corrupted and people jumping ship, do you think that's going to have an effect on the cinematic space?
I feel like it's two different audiences sometimes. In a lot of ways. Like, I personally haven't read a single Marvel comic. Not a one. But I've watched way more Marvel movies than, I would go back and watch the Marvel movies more than the DC movies. You know, with the exception of Christopher Nolan stuff, like, I'll go back and watch the Dark Knight trilogy over and over again. I'll put that on in the background. Man of Steel, I go back just for the fight scenes. I don't like, this is a minority opinion. I don't like Man of Steel overall, but I love the fight scenes, and that's why I bought it. The fights, those Dragon Ball Z fight scenes, dude, like, I'd been wanting to see that on camera for the longest time. I'm like, that's how you fucking do it. And so that's why I bought that. And so I enjoyed the new Justice League. Aquaman is fun, but I have a personal stake in that. I like Wonder Woman, but, like, I don't want to watch Joker again. I don't, like, the first Suicide Squad was terrible. You know, I just in general, like, I think that the Marvel just gets movies better. They've figured it out. But with comics, like, I'm more partial to DC, and so I'm inclined to check out the animation you're talking about. But in terms of, like, your question, I'm going about this in a long-winded way. I don't think it's going to have a negative impact because it's just they're all loss leaders. Like, DC was bought by Warner Brothers. Marvel was bought by Disney. It's a loss leader because, like, those comics, like you said, aren't really the money makers. It's the fact that you can turn that into something that you adapt.
Okay.
And so it's not those are investments because, like, you can take those and turn it into something bigger in the films, and then people are going to want to go back and read the source material they never gave a shit about, you know?
Right.
And so that it's adapting stuff has a weird effect because, especially when it does well, like, no one gave a shit about Guardians of the Galaxy. But when the film came out, everyone started buying up those comics. You know,
good point.
You know, movies used to do this all the time. I don't know if they do it now. Where, like, let's say Jurassic Park. You know, initially it's just got the cover that goes with the book. The movie gets adapted, and then the cover gets updated to look like the movie. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And so I feel like that's something they do all the time. I remember as a kid, there was a Batman comic that was basically the movie. It just, like, every single panel was just basically frames taken out of the film, and I bought it because of that. You know, it's like, and I think that it has a weird effect of people going back and buying the reading material for the thing they never cared about because the movie did well. And so I feel like you're not going to see a decline at all, at least with regards to Marvel and DC. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as the movies are good. As long as the movies are good, I think Marvel's going to come out on top at least.
Okay, I could sign on. I could co-sign on a lot of that.
Yeah.
But there is one thing. There's one project in particular that may argue against it, and that is Demon Slayer. It is the highest selling movie since the pandemic.
Highest selling movie?
Yeah, highest selling. Look at it. Highest grossing movie is Demon Slayer. Cartoon.
I never even heard of this.
Yeah, exactly. that there is one of the problems. Demon Slayer made like over $500-something million in a pandemic. And one of the reasons, no, it's the movie. Look up Demon Slayer movie.
Okay.
And the reason is because its fans is ravenous. Ravenous to the point that they'll go out in the middle of the pandemic to support it. And it's not one of those type of projects where it's going to placate to whatever the hot hashtag is of the week is going to be. This project knows who its audience is and gives them exactly what they're looking for. I think it's hard to find success when you're trying to make everybody happy, whereas manga knows this segment wants this, and they serve them that, and they serve them that well. It beat out all Marvel movies, all of them.
Wow, that's wild to me. But the anime audience is a different beast, dude.
Yeah, but the comic book, U.S. comic book audience used to be just as crazy as that. Not so much anymore because it's been so diluted. It's been so, they're trying to make it mainstream. Whereas manga doesn't care about mainstream. It's like, this is my audience and this is who we're going to serve.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
To me, it feels like writing on the wall. It feels like we're looking at the future, to me.
Why do you think it is that we are not as interested in reading anymore, and everybody else still is? Like, you're saying it's because comic books are placating.
Well, yeah, I'm saying the DC universe and the Marvel universe is placating to whatever is moving the social pendulum week to week.
When has that not been the case though? Like X-Men, there's this X-Men is about racism.
Yes, but it's the way that you tell the story. It's like, I think the core audience, the core comic book audience had a thing that they loved in comics and adored, and now it's been twisted into something to force everybody to love it, and it's going away from what its core central themes are. Does that make sense? It's like, it makes way more money. Make no mistake, MCU and DCU has proven time and time again that their movies sell and they make money. But their source core material, the original fanboys that made it interesting to the first place, aren't necessarily being served. Like, okay, another perfect example is the hardcore Star Wars fans, the ones that made Star Wars what it is. Do you think that they were being properly served when they made episodes 7, 8, and 9?
I don't think anybody was properly served when they made episodes 7, 8, and 9. So that, yeah, but sure, they weren't. No.
Hence, like, when you lose like your foundation of the thing that's being built on, then the house falls, is what I'm trying to say. And I think the foundation for a lot of these projects, that the core groups that made it possible to begin with, aren't being served. So the foundation is breaking, and it's going to fall like a house of cards. I don't think manga does that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is just an argument, and I'd love for the chat to hop in too and see how you think.
Yeah, that's
manga's. This is what they want, and this is what we're going to give them. Whatever the social movement is of the week, be damned. We're going to do this.
That's interesting.
Like, for instance, like I said earlier, like one of the scenes that I disliked was me being beat over the head with Harley Quinn killing some other dude again. I was like, I get it. I totally get it. That, to me, I'm just tired. I'm tired of that. I was tired of it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when he had the whole speech. I was like, I just want to see Falcon be a superhero and do dope stuff. I don't want to get preached to about this right now.
Right.
You know, it's just fatigue for me.
Right. Well, it's social justice warrior fatigue.
Yeah, I get it, it's important.
Yeah, social justice fatigue.
I go to these things to escape, right? You go to the movie to escape. I go watch these shows to escape.
But Syntell, as a black man, you can't escape, you see.
I mean, I'm just there's no refuge from you. You have to take this. I'm just curious. I know I can't be the only one getting tired a little bit. Am I? It's just,
no, I agree with you, man.
It feels like you're gonna get smacked if you say you're tired. You're like, what do you mean you're tired? You should never be tired. I'm tired. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired.
This is so what you're opening up is a big can of worms, dude, because this is a loaded conversation. But like, okay, but to try to keep it simple and relevant, the Harley Quinn film, I didn't like it. And I think my brother loved it. But one of the reasons I really didn't like it was because I felt this social justice warrior through line in the film, which is men are bad. I'm like, yo, like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't a single good dude in that movie, if I recall correctly. Everybody was fucked up. Everyone who had a penis was a bad dude.
Okay.
Everybody. Like, can you think of any good person that's a man in that movie? Because as far as I remember, everybody was bad who's a guy.
Yeah, not off the top of my head, no.
You know?
No.
And it's just like, after a while, I'm like, I'm just winded from this shit. I'm like, I get it.
But that's what I'm saying. You get winded. But then who's your core comic book audience?
Well,
core comic. What demographic is that?
I don't know. That's the thing is, like, they keep trying to appeal to the social justice warrior because they're so fucking loud. That's it. It's like you're talking about 10 people who have a megaphone. You know, 90% of the people who are watching this just want to watch a cool movie. They don't give a shit about any of these themes. Like, just make a cool movie. Stop it. I almost walked out of Aladdin. Well, I almost walked out of Aladdin several times. But, like, the scene when Jasmine, I don't know if you saw Aladdin, dude, but the movie was. Yeah. There's a scene where Jasmine goes. Live action, right? Yeah, the live action one. But there's a scene where Jasmine goes, I will not. She has this whole song about how she's not going to be silenced. I'm like, bitch, the movie's not about you. It's called Aladdin.
It's called Aladdin.
I got so mad.
Oh.
So I feel like we're gonna experience a weird rubber band effect. That's always what it is. It's just, it's like Mario Kart. You're gonna get a weird rubber band effect. It's always gonna happen. Whenever you keep trying to do this thing and you keep neglecting people, it's like it's just gonna hit you in the face in a weird way. And I feel like they keep trying to appeal to, like, I get into conversations with people all the time about this, like, they keep trying to make strong women. And I'm not going to say who said this to me, but it was a woman, and she goes, how come they keep making all the strong women look like lesbians? Why? They keep giving them these butch-ass haircuts and making them look hulked out. Like, why can't they look more like Wonder Woman? What is wrong with a feminine-looking, strong female character? What is wrong with that? Tell me what's wrong with that. I'm like, look, boo, I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, they think this is what the people want. That's why they keep doing this shit. And so, like, if you look at the cover of Terminator Genesis? What's the one? Or what's the new one called? Fallout or something? Terminator something. I forgot what the new one was called. The one where they brought back Linda Hamilton.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver. Goddamn, dude.
Yeah, I said not Sigourney Weaver. That was the first person that popped in my head. She's my ultimate badass.
They don't all look alike, Syntell. They don't all look alike. Okay.
Linda Hamilton.
Yes. Let me see. Linda Hamilton, Terminator. So, I don't know if these jokes are...
You know what? And I didn't see that one. Was it good? Was it worthy?
It was
okay.
I can't. I don't know what the new one is called. Let me just look up Linda Hamilton. Fuck, what's the new one called? Anyone know in the chat? No one gives a shit. So in the new Terminator, like, let me see if I can pull this up. Latest Terminator movie, Dark Fate. That's what it was called. Terminator Dark Fate. Dude.
Because it was like old Arnold and old Linda Hamilton, right? Trying to duke it out still.
I mean,
it was like a geriatric fight. I missed it, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is the picture right here. Oh,
okay.
Hold on. This is not working in my favor. Open image in new tab. There we go. Like, the person in the middle doesn't represent most women who are the potential to see this movie. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing.
But this is what Hollywood is trying to sell us as the strong female. Like, this is what they keep trying to sell us. And it's like what you're saying. It's like manga doesn't give a shit about the social justice warrior thing. They're gonna give you the big boobs and the busty
or whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
That thing is, they're just gonna give it to you,
right?
Because they know that's what their people want,
right? And so, like, this right here, like, I don't know who that's supposed to appeal to. Like, this doesn't represent anyone I know in real life as far as, like, strong females. Like, even I have lesbian friends, and she maybe reminds me of one of my friends. But, like, generally speaking, like, all I'm trying to get to is they keep trying to sell us on certain ideas about the strong female, and I'm like, I don't know that that's actually what women want to see, dude. Like, that's the confusing part of all this. I think that women are perfectly happy to see Wonder Woman. They like Gal Gadot, you know? And
Woman was dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
So good.
So I'm not sure who they're trying to please. Is when you make a movie like Harley Quinn and you make all men bad, Like who's that for exactly? Who is that for? Because do you think women are going out in droves to watch this movie?
That's what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
it's like whatever the hashtag is that you're preaching to, is that your core audience?
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing. If it is your core audience, then yeah, you know, go for it. But it's like, I don't know, me going on a Lifetime channel and then making a show about, I don't know, soccer players or male cricket players, and make it solely an all male cast audience. I'm like, well, that's not the content for that channel. You know, this is a woman's channel. So you want to cater to the needs of women on that channel. It would be silly to put a male oriented TV show on the Lifetime channel. You follow what I'm saying? That's not their core audience.
Right.
So I feel like a lot of times those hashtags, which is great to recognize, but is it serving your audience? I'm
right.
like, I just want to be served as a as a customer to what it is that you're showing. Serve me, please.
Yeah.
If it's
no, and I, you know, in fairness to the studios or whoever the hell it is that's trying to do this, like, I think that I've come across a lot of strong women in my time. You know, whether it's just personality or whether they're a martial artist, and 99% of the time, they don't look. I hate to use this word because it's not very PC, but they don't look butch. They just look like women, you know.
Right.
And so for some reason they keep trying to sell us this idea that that's what a strong woman is, and I don't know why, and I feel like Hollywood is just struggling to figure that out right now, of like, because like, okay, for instance, this is a small thing, when Patty Jenkins made Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman's skirt was longer. Did you notice that? In Justice League, her skirt was shorter. It was less conservative. Like, that's a little thing that is the difference between the male gaze and the female gaze. And it's like, okay, I get it. Cool, whatever. Hollywood's just trying to figure this out. You know, I think we're in the growing pains of like how do you present a strong female and it not look like, well, I mean, that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you present a strong female in a film and she doesn't look just like this? You know, this angry white lesbian lady. You know, because that's what we keep seeing. Is what it feels like. You know, and the funniest thing is I try to go out and support the female-led films. You know, whenever I see it, I saw Widows. I know you didn't like Widows, right? Or Courtney didn't like Widows.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. It was okay.
I liked Widows.
It is what it is.
I think it's Viola Davis again.
Yeah.
I liked Widows. I saw a film called Annihilation with Natalie Portman, all female cast, and I look at I watched that. I'm like, for all the rah-rah about not enough films starring strong female characters, I don't see any women in this theater.
But that goes back to what I'm saying. I'm like, who is your audience?
Yeah.
You're saying that what I'm saying over and over. That's what I'm screaming from the mountaintop. It's like if I'm making a movie, if I have a channel that placates to, not placates, that shows content to dog lovers and only dog lovers, and then all of a sudden I'm gonna make a movie that's about cats, the dog lovers are gonna be scratching their head. Yeah. We know cats are important, but this is a dog lovers group. We like dogs. We don't want to see a film about Garfield or Heathcliff.
Yeah. So I think that what you've got, like I said earlier, is a small group of people with a megaphone who are saying, "Oh, we don't have strong female characters." I'm like, "Have you seen Alien? Have you seen Terminator?" Like, I think we've got some movies out there with strong female characters that are dope as hell. But all right. So then they're trying to appeal to them, and you also have. You ready for this? You also have male feminists who are very, very loud.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so what happens is, you know, they make the movie for these people, but the thing about it is the majority of women don't give a shit about these problems. Like, as far as I can tell, they were perfectly happy with Wonder Woman. They're perfectly happy with Avengers. They're perfectly happy with all this other shit. They just want to go see a fun movie. I think at the end of the day, we just want a fun flick. You know?
Well, you want to, I think at the end of the day, you kind of want to just be entertained and escape.
Yes.
I mean, I've always thought, and maybe it's just my personal opinion, I've always thought that going to the movies is a method of escape, to be put into a world that is not your own and enjoy it and play in that world.
Yeah.
And it's getting difficult to play in any world without being beat over the head with whatever the new thing is.
I think the biggest problem is they're not starting from story, generally speaking. There's a girl in the chat. She says she goes by the handle Girl Cook Art. She says, as a woman, I really detest SJW woke movies. They are so pretentious. And that's the problem. Is it's pretentious. It's like it's trying to placate, like we've been saying. That's the big problem. And if comic books are doing that, yeah, they're going to lose their audience, like you're saying. To bring it back around. Like
it just feels like the writing's on the wall, right? Like
Yeah.
you can see the foundation starting to get a little brittle.
Yeah. I think because growing up, I didn't ever hear anybody complaining about this. Like, these are new problems because we're just looking for a fight. I think people just want something to rah-rah about more than anything, to be honest with you. Like, I forgot who it was. Oh, there was this Saturday Night Live, the news bits on Saturday Night Live. They did the anchor. I forgot who it was. Might have been Tina Fey, talking about how the military was having an argument about the uniform and like what color the uniforms need to be. And like they were going back, no, it's got to be green. No, it's got to be blue. It's like it was like a huge rah-rah about the uniforms. And she goes, these people need a war. They're fighting about something stupid. And so I think that likewise here in this day and age, like we're very privileged, and we have the luxury of not being drafted. We have the luxury of not having to go to Afghanistan, to go overseas, like a lot of us, unless you volunteer.
Right.
And I think innately we want something to fight about. We just need something to fight about.
I can see that. I can see that argument.
And so I think that's part of what is informing this, is like you just got people who want something to be mad about all the time. There was I forgot who said it. There was this great tweet where the Mortal Kombat trailer dropped. And this guy goes, Chun-Li is missing from this trailer. How come she's not in this Mortal Kombat trailer? And it was a serious tweet. Right. This guy was mad as hell. He's like on his soapbox, like, where's Chun-Li? Like, you dumb bitch. Like, this dude. I'm like, yo, that's a different franchise. You're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
And so people are just looking for a fight.
There's somebody in the chat, Girl Cook Art said, entertainment and story trumps woke agenda in movies.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't agree more.
Exactly.
I don't care how pivotal and poignant whatever the hashtag is for the week is. When it's concerning movies and storytelling, nothing is more important than the story. And are you entertaining people? Then you can squeeze in whatever the agenda is going to be. But the minute you start making that agenda first, or the priority, I don't care what the agenda. It could be saving puppies from land sharks. If that's your agenda first before the story, nobody's gonna care about your saving puppies from land sharks. Right.
For some odd reason, this stream got limited. I think it's because we talked about COVID a little bit, and so.
Oh, did we?
Yeah,
because of the amount of people that are going to see the theaters.
I don't know. YouTube would demonetize you for everything. So like, yeah, this is a demonetized stream. So let's talk about statutory grapes more. I'm so mad at YouTube right now. They keep doing this.
I thought we were doing pretty good. Though.
I'm gonna have it checked, but like, this right now. This
even say the C word.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, this isn't monetizing. The only thing that we monetize.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. The only thing that monetizes is the super chats, which has been very, very far and few between, which is fine. It's a fun conversation nonetheless. So, let me see. You didn't read my last statement clearly. I clearly stated that that is the new president. I'm not sure what the conversation is here. I said the new president who's killed by Harley, was that necessary? Is that unnecessary just to make the film rated R? What are we talking about here?
The guy that she fell in love with had a quick fling and then she shot him.
That's not what made the movie rated R.
No, and she didn't shoot him because of the kids. She shot him because she didn't want to go into another relationship that could potentially be abusive. And it had a damn thing to do with the kids.
Meet the Spartan says the same old plot with the government project goes wrong, hence task force. Someone wants to expose, some not, hence conflict. Stupidity was a creature who survived space, died by a bunch of rats.
Yeah, that thing is like bulletproof everywhere, but a spear pierced his eye, which is interesting. Whatever. And then that wasn't even what killed it. It was the rats that killed it.
That was a lot of rats.
It was a lot of rats.
I mean, you ever see locusts go to work? Yeah, it's just like there's this I don't think you've ever played it, but there's a game called StarCraft. And
yeah, I remember that.
And there's this unit you can have called a carrier, and you build these little things. I forgot what they're called, but if you've got a bunch of carriers, when you launch these little things, it looks like locusts tearing apart the enemy. It's kind of amazing. And so to like, and I like in the game, it's deadly as hell because your character on the ground is having a hard time figuring out what to do. And so I think that it's entirely possible that a star alien could have gotten overrun by rats. I thought that was fine. That didn't bother me. That was fine. Like, that's a lot of rats, you know. That was just a lot of rats. The one scene I didn't care about was the most expected scene of all, which is at the end on the helicopter with the rat resting on Idris Elba's leg, and he's petting it.
Oh, when he's accepted the rat as his friend.
Yeah, that's what I call the Jurassic Park ending, where your main character's got the kids because he hates kids, and the kids are sleeping on him now. I'm just like, all right, that worked when I was a kid, as in Jurassic Park, but like this is like it's very expected, you know.
Would you have rather have seen Bloodsport get a 8-part series or Peacemaker? Now that you've seen the film,
Bloodsport. Easily Bloodsport. I mean, but I'm an Idris Elba fan before being a John Cena fan. Not that I don't. I mean, John Cena's fine. I thought he was the best part of the new Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah. He surprised me. He had a little bit more chops than I thought he would have.
Yeah.
You know, he would have just been just the muscle without no real anything else other than him being strong.
John Cena
was everything but that.
John Cena is a social justice warrior.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I don't think he beats you over the head with it. He single-handedly brought down the Fast and Furious franchise. You saw what he did with China, right?
No. He's talking trash.
Okay, so here's what happened. I think is it Singapore? He was speaking in Chinese, I think in Mandarin, trying to he was sending this message to. I think it's Singapore or Taiwan. No, it's Taiwan. Sorry, it's Taiwan. He was sending a message to Taiwan, saying, encouraging them to watch the movie and blah, blah, blah. But then he referred to Taiwan as if it was his own country. And that
he didn't understand the politics.
Yeah, and that was a problem for China. China's like, no, Taiwan is not its own country. Taiwan is part of China. It's been this ongoing debate for a long ass time. Just like Texas wants to secede from the U.S. So Taiwan believes it's its own democratic state or whatever. It's independent of China. China doesn't feel that way, and so John Cena tries to roll back and goes, he sends out another message in Mandarin going, I was just playing before, I made a mistake, sorry, and so China didn't care for that message, and Taiwan definitely didn't care for that message. And so, Fast and Furious, it was very, very unwelcomed in China as a result.
Wow.
And China's a huge market. So it was a big faux pas.
That's a big mess up. Why can't you just be like, hey, go see the movie?
Yeah.
And just leave it at that.
Yeah. And it's if I'm a movie star and I got this big ass movie coming out, I'm staying off of social media. Unless something is directly indicated to me with a script by the studio. That's still that's it. If a studio tells me, here's what you're going to say, this is how you're promoting our movie, The Suicide Squad, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to read that. I'm going to memorize that. That's exactly what I'm going to say. Not a word more, because I'm not going to have China be mad at me. Why are you taking chances? Everything that went down with that girl the woman from Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can't think of her name right now.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She
and all she had to do was just chill out.
Yeah,
just chill out.
like the Ronda Rousey substitute, basically.
Yeah,
You know,
I forgot it.
I forgot her name too, but like, yo, just shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah, it's the easy fix.
Yeah.
The easy fix is don't fumble the bag. Shut up.
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is, your opinion is not that important until it's gonna fuck you over.
Yes.
It's that simple. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying I'm like, and know the crowd, know your room. You work for Disney.
Right. Exactly.
Like, what do you think is gonna happen, man? You work for Disney.
Disney is quick to fire anybody, especially when you're trying to draw some kind of relationship to the Holocaust. Like, Disney is trying to get far away from anti-Semitism.
Gina Carano, that's her name.
Yeah.
Gina Carano, something like that.
Twash is saying Emily Van Camp is reprising her role as Sharon Carter, power broker in Moon Knight show, probably because both of them are former CIA agents.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I'm not her biggest fan.
Moon Knight should be interesting.
Yeah. Justice for Commode head John Cena. What? Girl Cook Art is saying justice for Commode.
His hair look like a toilet seat.
At least he speaks Chinese.
I think that show is going to do good, man. When I first heard about the possibility of them doing a spinoff before I saw the movie, I was like, I don't know if Cena could carry a series. But now that I've seen it, I was like, yeah, I think he'll do all right.
I wonder if John Cena being in Suicide Squad hurt its box office in China. Let me see. China box office, the Suicide Squad. 10 reasons why the Suicide Squad is a box office disaster.
You may mention it in there.
Let me see.
While you do that, I'm going to go hit the head real quick.
COVID. It's not a movie, it's HBO Max. It's a sequel, a reboot, a spin-off, or something else. Audience didn't like or didn't care about Suicide Squad. The first one. 5 years is too long between installments. Tell that to Avatar. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is not that popular in the real world. $185 million is an absurd amount to spend on an R-rated movie. Yeah. Idris Elba is not a bankable movie star. Stop making sequels to Will Smith movies without Will Smith. The Suicide Squad has had nothing to offer other than the brand. Wow. What do y'all think? You think there's some truth to any of this stuff? That's interesting. You know, another reason why this might be demonetized is just the words, because of the phrase Suicide Squad having the S word in there. Did you see the new Stranger Things Season 4 teaser or Cobra Kai teaser? No, I did not. Marvel Comics and DC Comics are having two different tones, own identities. When DC want to do MCU tones, R-rated, it's a shipwreck. Interesting. Why do you guys think that it didn't do well? The Will Smith part is hilarious. Look at Men in Black. That's true. Miguel from Cobra Kai is casted as Blue Beetle for DC superhero movie. Gina Carano, F that website. All right. Jungle Cruise tops global box office. Wow! Oh my god. I can't believe Jungle Cruise is doing so well. I guess it's a family movie. China box office. Let me see. August. Damn, I can't spell. 2021. Raging Fire. That must be Chinese. These must be Chinese movies. 1921. F9, The Fast Saga, is actually making money in China? Get the fuck out. Impasse. Re-release of Avatar.
Okay, sorry.
I'm trying to figure out like how the box office is doing in China. I'm having a hard time like getting to the bottom of that. But I'm guessing, I'm wondering, like, obviously, you can't hear me yet. You good?
Yeah, man, it was all twisted up, man.
I'm wondering. Okay, so obviously, the Delta variant is freaking people out, and less people are going to the cinemas, right?
Right.
But I do wonder if John Cena has anything to do with it. Oh, it's
Sure, it
got.
has an influence.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure it has an influence.
Yeah. Okay, Chinese box office for 2021. F9 actually did okay, I guess. It made 200 million over there. So, I guess that was all weird, rah-rah. Endgame. Okay, these are like the whole year for 2021. I guess they do re-releases, and they have movies in cinemas longer. So, but there's this article over here I wanted to share with you. 10 Reasons Why Suicide Squad is a box office disaster. I want to know if you think any of this is true. By the way, Jungle Cruise crushed Suicide Squad at the box office.
It's happy. People want to be happy, man.
Have you seen Greg's thumbnail for his reaction to?
I've heard it's terrible.
I want to show you his thumbnail.
I have heard it is terrible.
Where is it?
But it was the same thing with what was it?
Look at his thumbnail. Look at his thumbnail.
Jam.
Look at his thumbnail right here.
Yeah, I hear it's terrible. I have heard it's bad. But Space Jam beat out, what was it, Black Widow? Remember that in week 2.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, Space Jam.
The wall-to-wall advertisement movie beat out Black Widow.
Yeah, week 2.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Because people, like we've had somebody in the chat say it, and we've said it here as well. People in a space where they want to, feel uplifted and be happy.
Okay, so COVID obviously is number 1.
Yeah. Yep.
Number 2 is it's not a movie; it's HBO Max. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, you're gonna see. You're obviously gonna cut into your box office sales if it's available on streaming.
Yeah.
I don't know why HBO Max
Space Jam.
Why is Oh, that's true.
Space Jam was really the same way.
But the COVID thing is getting worse right now, and so it's like there's more rah-rah about Delta, the Delta variant right now than there was when Space Jam released.
Very true. That's very true. Yes.
But I still think that they should have waited before putting it on streaming. At least give it a week or two. Goddamn, like.
But they're doing something interesting too with streaming. Like they'll introduce it to streaming, and then it'll stay on streaming for like a couple weeks, and then they'll take it away. And I guess it's to help give it a resurge to the box office. Like a perfect example, I went to try and see In the Heights again, and it was gone. It wasn't even on this streaming. They're like, nah, bro, the only way you can see it is if you go to the theater to see it. So maybe that's a way of making people force you to get it all in now, and if not, then the only way you have to see it is the theatrical experience.
I personally think it's just a mistake to put it on streaming immediately. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, what are you doing? I don't know how you're gonna collect. You're not gonna break any records at the box office if you're doing that, especially with the Delta variant. Like, they should have just at least pushed it back by a day or two. Number 3, is it a sequel, a reboot, or a spin-off, or something else? Yeah, that honestly, like I felt the same way. Like I'm like I don't know what this is. Are you starting from scratch? Because you got some people coming back from the first film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they don't reference the first film at all. There's no reference. So to me, it feels like a reboot.
Yeah. Audiences didn't like or didn't care about Suicide Squad. Like, yeah, like why are you gonna come back for this thing if you didn't like the other one? That's confusing. They should have given it a different name or something, like, because it is confusing.
I think what you said carries a lot of weight. It's a James Gunn project. It's people went to see him.
Yeah.
So then it was the movie, because if anybody else would have redone it, I don't think anybody would have cared nowhere near as much.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, I think a lot of the inner workings of all this stuff with the films and whatever, and I think a lot of people don't give a shit. Like, okay, for instance, this is a weird example, but I'm going to try to make it work. So, the Wii U, the Wii U, failed. It was a failed Nintendo system. And a big part of the reason why which for some reason is different now with Xbox. But a big part of the reason why is because the name was so close to the original, people didn't know there was a difference. Like parents trying to pick up something for their kids are like, why would I pick this up? I got the Wii at home.
Right.
They don't realize it's a completely different system. They're like, why? So it's just HD? Is that the only difference? Like, why we got a serviceable Wii at home. We don't need this Wii U thing. Not realizing it's a completely different system. You know? And so they sort of shot themselves in the foot by not calling it Wii 2 or Super Wii or something like that. You know, it's just a confusing name. And so this is so close in terms of the title. Like, from a marketing standpoint, it's like, that's confusing. You know?
Yeah, even for diehard fans, it's confusing. I was like, it's the same name? Is it the same name?
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's the Suicide Squad. They're like, that's the only difference?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Am
I seeing something new?
Yeah. And you can get away with that with something like Spider-Man because everybody knows Spider-Man. Suicide Squad is not as well known, right? But to reference to make sense of the Wii example, like people like you and me know there's a hardware difference. We know there's a difference because we're looking at that. But most people aren't looking at that. Most people are just sort of like passive. Right. And so if you're a passive audience goer, and you know it's like you didn't like the first Suicide Squad, why are you going to come back for this shit? Like you don't know that there's anything different. You know.
You remember that last thing you hated?
Yeah.
We made more of it.
Yeah.
The only thing different is the.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. The average person's gonna be like, nah.
5 years is too long between installments. I agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, we've had sequels well after 5 years for a lot of shit that's done well. I mean, Rambo, Rocky. That's a great one. Rocky, Rocky Balboa. How long was it between Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa? And Rocky Balboa made enough money to have, the Creed spinoff. So,
hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that.
Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is not that popular in the real world.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I think she's outside of Wonder Woman. She's probably the biggest female draw in DC. Who's bigger than her? I think she's got a bigger draw than Catwoman and Batgirl.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
So I don't know if I agree with that. And plus, how many projects she's got? She's got 3 movies by herself, and she's got 4 series. She's got the animated one, the re-emancipation of Harley Quinn, and 2 Suicide Squad movies. She's got 4 projects. Yeah. So I don't think that holds up at all.
This is interesting. They put up the picture of Terminator Dark Fate. $185 million is an absurd amount to spend on an R-rated movie. Deadpool, $863 million at the box office. Deadpool 2, $865 million at the box office. Counting the PG-13 Once Upon a Deadpool cut. Whoa, I forgot about that. No one liked it. I didn't see it. I really wanted to see the PG-13 cut. I really, really, really wanted to see it. I was like, maybe I'll like this more. I really wanted to see the PG-13 cut, and I didn't get a chance to. I wonder if it's out there somewhere. And Logan, $620 million, showed that R-rated superhero flicks could earn top-tier box office, while Joker, $1 billion, showed that R-rated supervillain movies could go toe-to-toe with Aquaman and Rey Skywalker. But all 4 of those films cost $58 million, $110 million, $97 million, and $65 million. They didn't have to remotely break records to break even. Making a $185 million R-rated sequel to a $175 million PG-13 movie is the definition of chutzpah that Terminator Dark Fate demands.
Now this theory I can co-sign with.
That Terminator, like Terminator Dark Fate, demands best case scenario box office to break even. I don't care how much good PR you get for renting James Gunn from Marvel and giving him carte blanche. Most regular moviegoers don't know or care about Gunn. Moreover, once Gunn resigned to direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the notion of him doing a DC film ensemble flick became noticeably less special. All right. Disney had to sap the juice out of that.
185 million. I'm sure a lot of that cost just came from rendering King Shark because he's in it a lot, and that had to be expensive.
If you did a PG-13 film, it would have made its money back.
But there's no way you could have given that same experience in a PG-13 film. Not that level of gore.
I didn't need it.
You're like, well, how about you write a better story? There's an
Yeah.
idea.
It's like, so like everybody's who's so happy about the gore and whatnot. It's like, now you got one, you're not getting another. It's like that you got yours, but you're not getting another one of these. You're just not. Like, if you took out the gore, or at least dialed it back to be PG-13 friendly, you'd have made your money back and you could do another one of these movies. But now you just get this one.
Here, but I think the big part to me that sticks out is the James Gunn factor. Like, for us that love these style of movies and we follow the directors and we follow all of that because it means something to us, it is important. And I think that's a big selling point. But like you said earlier, you know, the mom of 3 kids don't know who James Gunn is and could care less. And most kids don't even know who James Gunn is. Most people have no idea who James Gunn is. Most people. Mm-hmm. But we're just in a very small niche group of people that appreciate what he brings to film and cinema.
Right.
And then the naming on top of it. Yeah. The naming was a real big fumble. How do you mess that up?
Yeah.
The Suicide Squad.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Okay, what's the next one? 8? Okay.
I think that was all. Oh, wait.
Idris Elba is not a bankable movie star.
Idris Elba.
Is he not?
Hold on, let's look at this. Idris Elba's terrific and charismatic, but he's not, as has never been, butts and seats draw. Pacific Rim, The Losers, The Dark Tower. He's a strong added value element, like Thor, Prometheus, and Hobbs and Shaw, but like Robbie and Gunn, is an example of a filmmaker actor whose mainstream popularity is vastly overstated by online discourse and SEO-friendly articles constantly fan casting for any and all commercial projects under the sun. If anything, as evidenced by solid showings from modestly budgeted programmers like No Good Deed, Obsessed, and Takers, he's not unlike Gerard Butler. Butler's a B-movie action star when the movie's cheap enough. Den of Thieves, Angel Has Fallen, Greenland, to thrive on a $15 million opening weekend. But ask Butler to front Dean Devlin's $120 million Geostorm, and yeah, $220 million worldwide isn't enough. To be fair, there's only one Will Smith.
I think they're right. I think we have a love affair with Idris Elba that doesn't necessarily, mean the rest of the mainstream cares as much. Because Hobbs and Shaw was a bit of a flop, wasn't it?
I don't know about that. I don't think so.
Was it? Did it go well enough?
Well, he wasn't the main star. He wasn't the main star. No, it got almost $1 billion.
Oh, never mind. I was way off.
No, the argument introducing Hobbs and Shaw into the conversation is that he's supporting.
Right.
I honestly don't even remember what he was the bad guy in that. Yeah. Sorry. Hobbs and Shaw didn't leave much of an impression on me. After the movie was over, I just forgot that. I shat that out of my brain like the popcorn out of my butt. I let go of that right away. So it didn't leave.
We do have a love affair with Idris Elba.
So stop making sequels to Will Smith movies without Will Smith. How many times does that happen? Men in Black.
Yeah, and that didn't do well.
What else? Okay, Men in Black, Independence Day. That's right.
Yeah, that didn't do well either.
Bad Boys. Okay, hold on. While the overall hype and interest in DC films and the cinematic debut of Harley Quinn pushed Suicide Squad open with $133 million domestic, that it featured one of the world's biggest movie stars as a comic book assassin, helped that opening and was instrumental in helping the movie survive a 67% second weekend plunge. Moreover, in less comic book obsessed markets, Will Smith's charismatic movie star turn in a blatantly commercial IP exploitation was a key factor in the film's $420 million overseas. What's this word? Cube? As we saw with Men in Black International and Independence Day Resurgence, making a sequel to Will Smith's star vehicle without Will Smith is a commercially perilous idea. Sure, he can't open non-IP flicks like The Gemini Man anymore, but he's gold as the genie in Aladdin, while Bad Boys for Life is still the last movie to top $200 million domestic. Wow. That's...
Will Smith factor. Love him or hate him, the man makes money.
He's just got so much
touch.
He's just got so much charisma, and the guy, Will Smith has yet to say something wrong. He's very smart. You think
even when he got cheated on, he took that like a champ, man. He took it on the chin, cried, and became even more beloved. Just like, dang, you win even in that?
Yeah. Yeah, he's very, very smart. One of the things he was very open about when we went to the Gemini Man YouTube conference, he was very interesting listening to him talk, because one of the things he was saying was, you know, I have to be God, I wish I had the recording of that conversation because it was so interesting. But he was saying something about how Will Smith, as an entity, he has to think about that every time he takes on a movie now, and he wrestles with that. He wrestles with the persona of Will Smith, and trying to embrace a project for himself. Like he has to think about. He's very, very conscious about the perception of Will Smith. And so with that, I haven't ever seen him do anything like his kid does, and say something stupid online. You know, he's very smart about it. You know, so the Suicide Squad had nothing to offer other than the brand. All of the above variables combined to create a sequel which had nothing to sell other than the fact that it was another Suicide Squad movie. It lacked Will Smith, the allure of the first Harley Quinn appearance, much-typed cameos from Ben Affleck's Batman and Jared Leto's Joker. It had to overcome bad reviews and an indifferent consumer response to the first Suicide Squad. Couple that with with R rating and a budget even more expensive than the first Suicide Squad, was arguably always a dead man walking, with or without global pandemic and concurrent HBO Max availability. Yes, Delta-specific infection rates are a big reason why it didn't even reach the successful disappointment level, which we might have otherwise seen, but the Suicide Squad was essentially a sequel to Suicide Squad, lacking almost everything that made that movie a hit. That's it. It's pretty good. That it's pretty good is beside the point.
So, Will Smith is a bigger pull than James Gunn.
I mean, that's obvious.
I just want to hear it be said out loud.
That's quite obvious, yeah. I mean, yeah. The only bad thing that Will Smith has done is feature a song in Student of the Year 2. The Indian movie? He's in that? Are you going to react to What If? Yes, I am. We got to talk about What If. We're going to talk about What If as soon as we're done with this. He's got charm. He's a really lucky guy. Will Smith is a hard worker. Luck always has something to do with it, but he's a hard worker. He works his ass off. You know, he's had some bombs. He did that M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Of course, he's had some bombs. He's got a few bombs.
He did the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Did you see Gemini Man?
I couldn't finish it.
Dude,
I couldn't even finish it. And I'm a Will Smith fan. It takes courage to be as bold as he does to jump out of there on those projects, and they're not all going to be hits. Like, I was one of the few people that enjoyed Hancock. One of the few. Most people couldn't even finish it, but
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was bold. It was ballsy.
That's cool.
He's doing a new one now where he plays Venus and Serena Williams' father, and how he turned both of his daughters into world-class champions and arguably one of the greatest athletes of all time in Serena. So, you know, but that goes into what you were saying about recognizing what his brand means, and that is on brand for his brand to do that type of movie.
Yeah. This is an interesting review that I think, or a little short review that I think resonates with you. Easily better than the first one. Most things are. And I enjoyed the willingness to be as violent as possible for long stretches. That said, Gunn's shtick feels a little tired and predictable here.
Yeah, I mean, that's about right.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll probably never see it again.
Yeah.
One and done.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought they did a clever job of keeping Superman out of the movie.
Yeah, they imply that he may still be in the hospital. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, he's in the ICU. Yeah.
Yeah, because Soup would have definitely showed up to kill Starro without a doubt. Or Batman or anybody else in the DC world. But we're not talking about that. That doesn't matter.
All right, let's conclude this Suicide Squad live stream. Y'all, thanks so much for hanging out. I feel like most of the people here have been here like the whole time, because it's been about the same amount of viewers. So I feel like it hasn't been people coming in and out. It's like been just people hanging out with us for the entire duration. So thanks for all of you guys who've just been kicking it with us. That's pretty cool. Hopefully we can make some money back on the ad drops for the playback on this. Because it got demonetized. I'll try to fight that. But nonetheless, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out. And y'all be good. Looking forward to the next comic book adaptation chat, whatever that is. What If is probably going to be what we talk about next. So, peace out.